Good morning. Welcome to the webinar on Research Made Easier, Mapping the Course to an Academic Career, the Research Perspective. I'm Dr. Mary Rose Payan of the Department of Ophthalmology and Visual Sciences, and together with Dr. Jean Tural of the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, we will be your hosts for today. This webinar will have 4 parts. Part 1 is research ideas and opportunities for collaboration. Doctors Marisa Alejandria, Jean Toral, and Eva Cotionco de la Paz will be the speakers. Part 2 is research proposal, review, and registration with speakers Dr. Jacinto Blas Mantaring III and Rohani Sena. Part 3, entitled Research Proper, Grant Management, and Study Implementation, will have Drs. Mark Sandoval and Edward Wang as speakers. And Part 4 is Research Products, Publication, Policy, Patent. Drs. Bienvenido Balotro, Marisa Alejandria, and Maria Lisa Antoinette Gonzalez will be the speakers. If you have any questions for our speakers, please write them in the Q&A box or the chat box. There will be a 15-minute open forum at the end of all the lectures. Before we start with our lectures, let us first have a few special messages. I would like to call on Dr. Gerardo G. Hermar, UPCM Faculty Committee Chair, to give his welcome remarks.
Good morning, everyone, to our webinar, Research Made Easier. The purpose of this webinar is to inform, facilitate, and encourage the faculty to produce meaningful research for the benefit of the college, the university, and the Filipino people. We thank Chancellor Carmencita Padilla, Vice Chancellor Edward Wang, Dean Charlotte Chong, and Associate Dean for Research Marisa Alejandria, and all the speakers for making this collaborative effort a reality. Hopefully, the culture of research is further nurtured so that future generations will be surrounded by reliable bodies of knowledge. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Hermar, for your message. Let us now please welcome UPCM Dean Dr. Charlotte M. Chong to talk about the research thrust of the UPCM.
Chancellor Carmencita Padilla, esteemed faculty members of the UP College of Medicine, first, let me thank the Office of the Associate Dean for Faculty and Students under Dr. Chet Gonzalez and her team and the faculty committee led by Dr. Jerry Hermar. The RIDO, led by Associate Dean for Research, Dr. Isa Helandria, with her team. And of course, UPPGH Aero, led by Dr. Jean Toral. With a harmonized research agenda that we embarked on last October 10, we defined the main strategy, which is to undertake landmark researches while we achieve more interdepartmental collaboration under several research programs that have been prioritized for 2023 to 2028. Further collaboration with existing NIH institutes in UP Manila will allow us to aim to inform policy as well as to extend the impact of these researches nationally with alignment with the NURA. The college, in the relentless pursuit of excellence in research, teaching, and service, will certainly provide the faculty the pathways for contributing to these lofty goals while benefiting from promotion and growth as academics in the university. There's been truly a palpable interest in research as more members of our community, be they students, faculty, and trainees, realize its importance in enriching the life within our college and the hospital. Doctoral studies by research and publication with implementation uniquely developed in the college provide even better opportunities for academic career development. As you will realize, we continue to put in place a better milieu for generating new knowledge, creating innovation teams, and even encouraging research to improve medical education by simulation while harnessing technology and talent, being the leading transformative medical institution in the country. It is my wish that all of you who are joining today's event will be inspired to navigate what has been a convoluted and difficult path in the past but is now a pillar for producing the clinician scientists that our country direly needs, and our college as the main driver for this in the university system in the health sciences. Mabuhay po kayong lahat. Mabuhay po ang Kolehiyo ng Medisina.
Thank you, Dean Chong. Now, to give another special message, let us now please welcome UP Manila Chancellor Dr. Carmencita D. Padilla to talk about the UP Manila Research Framework.
Good morning. As a research university, UP Manila is expected to uphold the pillars of training, public service, and research. It is our responsibility to ensure that there is a continuous flow of new knowledge to provide solutions for persistent problems of today and anticipated problems of tomorrow. At the start of my term as your chancellor, I committed to improving the climate of research so that faculty, students, and staff will be encouraged to pursue research either individually or as part of a group or in collaboration with colleagues from other universities. It has been a long journey to provide a UP Manila framework for research, and today you will see the various components of a true research university. I welcome you to this webinar, jointly sponsored by the Office of the Vice Chancellor for Research, the UPCM RIDO from the Office of the Associate Dean for Research, and the Faculty Committee of the UPCM. This is an offshoot of a webinar in September on mapping the course to an academic career at the UPCM. The webinar targets the faculty, the mobilizers of research. In this forum, you will appreciate the research support system provided by the UP Manila for the major steps in the process. From coming up with a topic using NURA, short for the National Unified Health Research Agenda, or the Harmonized Agenda of the UPCM-PGH, to the submission of the proposal, to the actual undertaking of the research with the support of the Research Grants Administration Office, or ARGAO, and the newly opened Office of Research Integrity, to the application for patents of research products with the support of the Technology Transfer and Business Development Office, or TTBDO. There will also be a discussion on where to publish, incentive and grants, and awards and recognition given to researchers. Many of those before us have made research not only a rewarding career, but a platform to help greatly in solving our priority and pressing health problems. As a leading health university, UP Manila is expected to be more focused on cutting-edge researches that impact on the health of our people. Some examples are biomedical researches, epidemiological studies, researches on health services, and the behavioral, social, and economic factors that affect health. This and more are to ensure that conducting research is made easier and facilitated by an integrated program of modern facilities, streamlined processes, and access to grants and incentives. I reviewed the list of registered participants, and I'm happy to see the mix: young and old, beginner and seasoned researchers. This webinar is open to all, and I hope that we will have another webinar for the other faculty members who missed this episode. I commend all of you for taking this useful and necessary step to research engagement and treating research as a vital component of your profession as educators and caregivers. Remember that research enhances your teaching. I wish you a productive mapping of research as a major task and prospective career. These are very important, very significant steps to strengthen one of our university's major pillars, which is research. Let us all ensure their success. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat at mabuhay.
Thank you, Chancellor Padilla. Now for the last special message, let us now all please welcome UP Manila Vice Chancellor for Research, Dr. Edward Wang, to talk about an overview and introduction to research offices.
Thank you, Mayos. Let me share screen lang. Okay. Good morning, everyone. So when you enter the website of the UP Manila for research, it is stated there as a health science university. UP Manila regards research as a hallmark through which the university serves as a major contributor to national health goals. So it goes without saying that research is one of the lifelines through which we, the faculty, collaborate with government, other universities, the private sector, and even industry to provide answers and solutions to the health problems of our people. Now, in the recent past, there has been a dramatic change in the research landscape of the UP Manila. And this research landscape has allowed us to pursue this mandate. So not only has there been a heightened awareness of the research process, there has been an increase in the quantity and quality of research over the past decade. There is now a steady stream of national and international collaborations, rapidly increasing numbers of government and university-funded projects. There's a record number of faculty among you who are recognized for research achievements, and a similarly increasing number of faculty researchers influencing government policy and practice guidelines. There's also recently developed a palpable interest in innovations of biomedical devices and biotechnology. Now, these achievements do not occur overnight. They have to be the result of a sustained effort over time by our university. And even today, one must recognize the confluence of different things, influencing and enhancing our research enterprise. So we must acknowledge our chancellor, who herself a research scientist, has consistently pursued a robust research infrastructure for the UP Manila. Then you have a dean who herself is research faculty, who has instituted programs to further develop faculty and student potential in research, and a PGH director who has poured an unprecedented amount of money into developing research in the hospital. So from another perspective, what I'm saying is this is the perfect alignment of stars, and this is the perfect time to develop research and to pursue research. However, despite all of this input and progress, in our conversations with many of our faculty, many of our colleagues remain unaware of what is happening in the UP Manila research scene, and in fact do not know what really is in store for them in terms of research support. Which is why, together with Jerry Hermar and Isa Alejandria, we thought about hosting today's webinar. So note the program is divided into sections, di ba? Sinabi na yan several times today. And the sections really follow the research process from looking for an idea, so the ideation, until the production of a publication, a policy, or a product patent. So let's take a quick look at this research program today. First, there is the inclusive leadership of both Associate Deans Isa Alejandria and Aero Chief Jean Toral for pioneering the harmonization of the research agenda between college and hospital. Now, this is followed by, what other word can I use, but indefatigable NIH Executive Director, Eva Cotionco de la Paz, who will articulate the many research programs of the NIH, where faculty can collaborate and where faculty can actually join. And before we begin a study, you need ethics clearance. And who better to discuss this than the very face of research ethics, Dr. Jojo Mantaring. Now, ethical clearance for animals goes to our in-house veterinarian, Dr. Senas Iacuk, which continues to standardize all of our animal labs. Iacuk has even taken the extra cudgels to make us appreciate animals as partners in research and in both physical and mental health. So now that you've gotten your clearance and your grant money, which of course Dr. Gonzalez will talk about a little more later, you need Argao to manage the grant. See, Dr. Mark Sandoval has left no stone unturned in streamlining the procedures of Argao and organizing it into a well-oiled machine over the past few years. And to make sure we're able to undertake research worthy of public trust and scientific scrutiny, we have now research integrity, only recently elevated to the status of an office, the only one of its kind in the country. And finally, when we have the products of our research, how do you connect with industry? You scale up and you want to commercialize and earn the royalties for yourself and for our university. Dr. Bien Balotro, former Dean of Pharmacy, will share with us the commitment of the Office of the UP Manila TTBDO to connect with industry while at the same time protecting our intellectual property rights. But what if our products are manuscripts? Associate Dean Isa will tell us how to choose the proper journal for publication, the same way she has consistently been able to publish in international high-impact journals. And finally, Associate Dean Chet Gonzalez, always trying to find benefits for the faculty, will round it up with an update on different incentives and grants available from the UP College of Medicine, and this will be augmented with a consolidated listing of similar grants and awards from UP Manila and the UP system. So now, how do all of these units interact? Here you have a part of the UP Manila organizational chart, showing the units which support research, those with check marks. In the middle, you have the support offices for research, all under the Office of the Vice Chancellor for Research, under what we term collectively as the Research Executive Committee. Then you have the college and the hospital, both under the University Research Executive Committee, so together with other colleges, other associate deans for research. And finally, you have the NIH in the same category as other colleges, but which remains a non-degree granting unit. So welcome to this webinar. Good morning, sit back and enjoy the entire morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wang. To begin part 1 of our webinar on research ideas and opportunities for collaboration, let us all please welcome Dr. Marisa Alejandria, UPCM Associate Dean for Research, to talk about the UPCM PGH Harmonized Research Agenda Development Process. Thank you, Dr.
Okay. Thank you, Mayos, and magandang umaga sa ating mga nanonood, our esteemed faculty and virtual audience. Okay. So let me start off this webinar on how we give birth to research ideas. Let me just pull out my screen. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So how do we give birth to research ideas, research programs that will provide science-based solutions towards delivery of quality healthcare, which is our main goal while we do research. Okay. So the research process is iterative. It starts with asking the cutting-edge question, searching, appraising, synthesizing the best available evidence, identifying the gaps, answering the gaps by generating evidence either through primary research or research using existing data. And then from this, we can translate the findings from this research into policies and guidelines that are implemented through health systems and operations research or even quality improvement research. Then these policies and guidelines will then be evaluated for impact, leading to new research questions. So that essentially is the source of our research ideas. So we need to be able to master the literature, synthesize and review what has been done, what has not been done. We need to be alert to new ideas and techniques and be imaginative, creative, and critical thinkers. Our daily activities as a faculty, teaching, doing rounds, managing patients, these are sources, rich sources of research ideas. Our most recent experience with the COVID-19 pandemic has actually sensitized the public and policymakers on the importance of research, not only to our health, but also to our economic well-being. And we have also seen how genomic sequencing enabled rapid identification of the virus, SARS-CoV-2, and sharing this sequence actually fast-tracked the development of diagnostic tests, vaccines, and treatments. So from this, we can see that research will continue to be a critical pillar in the delivery of safe, effective, cost-efficient health interventions as we move towards better health through universal healthcare. So, taking off from how we have collaborated and worked together, not just in providing service as a COVID-19 referral hospital, but in producing several researches, collaborative researches through various study groups such as the UP Manila COVID-19 Study Group, UPC Ball, which spearheaded the development of innovative biomedical devices. We have the Phil Corona Study Group and others, several other study groups that tackled not just the clinical aspects of COVID-19, but also mental health, the impact of COVID on the delivery of other health services, impact of COVID on learning and teaching strategies. So all these initiatives that we have started, it needs to be continued. And this year is an opportune time to generate a harmonized UPCM PGH research agenda. So with the concurrence of Dean Charlotte Chong and Director Gap and Vice Chancellor Ewang, Dr. Jean Tural and I proposed to conduct a research agenda priority setting activity among and this time, instead of an individualized research agenda for the hospital and the college, we saw now the opportunity to harmonize our research agenda, as I've said, taking off from what we've experienced and what we've started during the pandemic. Okay. So we started this activity last August, and to reflect the depth and breadth of expertise in the college and the hospital, and having a wide range of healthcare providers, from our students to paramedical staff, generalists and specialists. The overarching framework of transformative healthcare for Filipinos, its healthcare providers, and the healthcare system was conceptualized. And the word transformative was used to capture the need to be adaptive, responsive, and resilient to challenges and future public health threats as we move towards universal healthcare and health security. So we then, as a background, giving that overarching framework, we convened our vice chairs for research and asked them to go through the process of agenda setting and prioritization. So we started off with asking the departments to nominate at least their top 2 to 3 research programs by looking at what has been done, what needs to be done. Okay, so they needed to review the landscape in their departments. And this process of asking the constituents to be the one to map out the research programs in the respective department follows the guidelines for health research prioritization that was crafted by the Philippine National Health Research System, and this was spearheaded by Professor Cynthia Cordero. Okay. So when gathering the submissions of the departments, we generated a concept map and grouped the priority research programs according to clusters. Then we sent this back to the departments and asked them to rank the research topics under each domains and score them in terms of priority. And the criteria for prioritization is whether it has scientific relevance and public health benefit. Is it feasible? And are we willing to put our resources into it? So public health benefit, feasibility, and cost were the criteria for prioritization of the topics under each domain. And the clustering of the programs into domains was done by the technical working group, which is composed of RIDO, AERO, and the Department of Clinical Epidemiology. So this is the result of the grouping of the priority research programs. So these are the 12 domains of our UPCM PGH Harmonized Research Agenda. So we have wellness and preventive care for all, which includes researches on screening and preventive interventions for the healthy individual and community across life stages, from the neonate down to the elderly. Next is addressing high burden diseases of the Filipino people, which includes both communicable and non-communicable diseases, which are the leading causes of morbidity, mortality, and maternal and neonatal mortality. Third domain is malignant neoplasms, which looks at molecular profile, biomarkers for detection and treatment, including innovative interventions for longer survival and better quality of life. Then we have discoveries and innovations, which includes development of biomedical devices, novel therapeutics, emerging diagnostics, omic technologies. Then we have health service delivery, focusing on implementation strategies related to universal health care, telehealth, setting up electronic registries, record registries. And then we have quality assurance and improvement, which focuses on evaluation of programs and processes towards patient safety and quality healthcare, including development of clinical practice guidelines and utilizing these towards implementing standards of care. Then the next 6 domains include emerging and re-emerging diseases and conditions. So this looks at detection, preventions, and surveillance of these emerging disease conditions. We have rare orphan diseases and neglected tropical diseases, looking at screening, detection, and management of these uncommon disorders. Then we have disaster risk reduction and sustainable health. Okay, so we're looking at preparedness and management systems for extreme environments and also for adaptation to climate change to sustain health. Then we have researches on looking at sociocultural economic dimensions of health. And then researches on medical education and capacity building. Specifically would want to look at the acceptability and impact of novel teaching strategies that we have implemented during the pandemic. And then last is health of the community, which looks at physical and mental well-being of healthcare workers, staff, and students. So these are the 12 domains in our harmonized research agenda, and it's very much aligned also with the updated health research and development agenda of the Department of Science and Technology and PCHRD, where we get most of our funding. So you can see that we are aligned with this. Okay. Now, having described now our research agenda, the challenge now is for our basic and clinical departments to work together towards doing translational research, wherein we need to be able to translate discoveries, findings, creative findings from the ivory tower into the real world, which is translating it in the findings into practical or safe and effective interventions that will improve the quality of healthcare. So it involves applying basic science findings from laboratory research in clinical studies of patients, then applying the findings of these clinical studies to change or improve health practices in the community. So this is essentially the message or the concept of translational research. And to be able to do that, we really need to collaborate and partner among each other and craft the research programs. And if we want to be able to tackle the spectrum, no, from discovery to translational research, from bench to bedside to the community, from wellness to disease across life stages. We really need to collaborate. We need to be creative, critical thinkers on how we are going to come up with research programs, short-term and long-term programs that will address the priority problems of national importance in our country. And the partnerships does not end just within the college or in the hospital, but we also look outside. So we collaborate with the National Institutes of Health, other colleges in the university, and even internationally in other healthcare institutions. Okay. So with that, I turn you over to Dr. Jean Toral on how we are going to move forward our research agenda and for more concrete examples of research programs that have been started. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Alejandria. I would now like to call on Dr. Jean Toral, PGH Era Chief, to talk about the UPCM PGH Harmonized Research Agenda, results, and moving forward. Let's all please welcome Dr. Toral. Thank you, Dr. Toral.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mayos and Dr. Isa. So let me just share my screen. Okay, so I will take off from where Dr. Isa left. So, but before anything else, good morning to everyone. So I would like to thank the Office of the Vice Chancellor for Research and the Faculty Committee of the UP College of Medicine for allowing us to present this harmonized research agenda. This is one way of disseminating this item, and most of the communications in the past have been with the vice chairs for research as well as with the chairs of the departments through presentations in both the DAB in PGH and the DAC at the UP College of Medicine. So in the October 10 meeting, aside from showing the results of the prioritization process, what we achieved in this meeting is that we were able to identify who are willing to collaborate and who are willing to take the lead in certain areas. Of course, as I go through the different domains, you will still see blanks in many of the slides. But before that, let me just define for you what a convener is. A convener of a domain or a subtopic in the domain is the department, unit, or person who leads a group of researchers to come up with a research program for a chosen topic. And the convener has the role of identifying researchers from the departments and units who are willing to collaborate to pursue the topic, to conduct a brainstorming session to identify the specific research, identify people who will draft a protocol for each research question, and lead the continuing discussion by meetings on a regular basis with the aim to develop protocols ready for submission to the REB and a funding agency. Second, to monitor progress and to write manuscripts for publication. So let me just show you some examples of existing programs or collaborations already. One is the UP Manila PGH Sarcoma Consortium, wherein the convener is Dr. Edward Wang. And together with him are several departments, both from the basic and the clinical sciences. So all departments who handle sarcomas are in the group, and we even have an MD PhD student with us. Of course, there was already mention of CBOL, which is a collaboration of the College of Medicine, PGH, and the engineers from the UP Diliman, making medical devices accessible to Filipinos. And we have the Multi-Omics Research Program for Health, which works on several molecular studies with collaborators including the departments of Biochem, Medicine, Neurosciences, and from the College of Public Health, the Department of Medical Microbiology. So we hope to see more collaborations with this harmonized UPCM PGH research agenda. So let me just show you the structure of a slide for a domain. So the red box on top is the title of the domain, and also included in parentheses if there is a lead convener for the domain. And then at the bottom, the yellow box is the definition of the domain, as already mentioned by Dr. Alejandria. And the one in the middle, the table, shows you the various topics in each of the domains, plus the identified conveners and those who volunteered as collaborators also during the October 10 meeting. You can see different colors here, no? So those in green are those who the group recognized to have already existing programs, like for example, here in this first domain on wellness and preventive care for all, researches on the elderly is already being taken care of by the Institute of Aging. But in that meeting, orthopedics and neurosciences have volunteered to be collaborators for this particular item under wellness and preventive care for all. While those in red are those who by the meetings of the technical working group and the core group think that these departments or units can also be collaborators, but they did not volunteer on that meeting during that October 10 meeting. Like for example, gender and sexual health, which is the convener is the Department of Psychiatry, but the Department of OBGYN has a new division, the Division of Sexual Health, and I'm pretty sure the department would like to collaborate also with psychiatry for this particular item on wellness and preventive care. So that's for the first domain. Now we go to the second domain. So it's divided actually into two: high burden diseases of the Filipino people. The A is the communicable diseases. So it's just logical that the infectious disease divisions of the big departments will handle the one for the leading causes of Filipino morbidity and mortality, with collaborators volunteering from the departments of ophthalmology and dermatology. Of course, maternal and morbidity and mortality will be led by obstetrics and gynecology, and those of the neonates and under 5 morbidity and mortality will be handled by the Department of Pediatrics. Moving on to the 2B, which is the non-communicable. Again, you see here various conveners, but there could be items wherein there are no collaborators yet. But the next thing to do is really have more collaborators go into the group later on as we bring this back to the technical working groups, mostly the vice chairs for research, as they go to their department and see what other items can they collaborate with. So item number 3, domain number 3, malignant neoplasms, is actually an example of a domain which was brought about because of an appeal during the meeting. It was supposed to be part of 2B, leading causes under non-communicable diseases, but borrowing this from the PGH Cancer Group, but as our vision to lead the country in liberating Filipinos from the burden of cancer through transformative patient-centered cancer health care delivery, it deserves to have one separate spot in the agenda, and surgery has volunteered to convene in this group. And of course, all departments which handle malignancies are collaborators for this particular domain. Domain number 4 is on emerging and re-emerging diseases and conditions. So these are those who volunteered to be conveners, and we also have collaborators for the different topics. So radiology and infectious diseases of medicine volunteered as collaborators to the convener, the Department of Laboratories. Now we go to number 5, rare and orphan diseases. We recognize the great work already of the Institute of Human Genetics for genetic disorders and inborn errors of metabolism, but the Department of Pediatrics has identified themselves to be a collaborator for further studies on this area. And this domain also extends to neglected tropical diseases, the convener of which is the Department of Dermatology. And we have also trophoblastic diseases, a rare disease in most of the countries, but we have quite a lot in the country. That's why it's the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology who will serve as convener for this particular item under rare and orphan diseases. Now we go to discoveries and innovations. Discoveries and innovations, of course, here we recognize already the existence of groups like the MORPH and UP-CBOL, and they are written here in green as conveners, and there are also other conveners coming here, like the laboratories and pharmacology, and we have identified several collaborators also for these various topics under discoveries and innovations. Then the seventh is health service delivery. This is actually one of the main agenda of PGH prior to this harmonized agenda. So that's why we see here already the entry of the various paramedical groups of PGH, like dietary, the medical social service, the institutional research, IRPD, as well as the medical records division. So we see here also the collaboration, not only of the departments, but also other working units in the hospital and in the college. So then we have number 8, quality assurance and improvement. So if it's a red in the main domain, it means that they have been volunteered, but they were, we have to confirm with them if they will be accepting to be the lead for this particular domain. So there is a quality improvement and patient safety committee in PGH, and we hope that they will accept to be the lead for quality assurance and improvement. And here we see various clinical units as well as offices volunteering to be collaborators. And of course, we recognize also the work of the Institute of Clinical Epidemiology with regard to clinical practice guidelines. So they're in green here, as well as on policy researches. That's why we have the Institute of Health Policy and Development Studies, both of the NIH. And then we have the socio-cultural dimensions of health. So we have lead department, psychology, and physiology. But if you can see, there are many items here for which there are still no identified conveners for the subtopics. And so that's why this remains to be open to all the departments and units. And then we have for number 10, health of the community. So taking care of one's own. So here we have the nursing group of PGH already as one of the collaborators. So human resource care and management. Of course, the occupational hazards will have to be taken care of by physiology as a collaborator, while physical and mental health, psychiatry volunteered to collaborate with the health service under the Department of Family and Community Medicine. Okay, and of course, we have also the education and capacity building, which we hope the medical education unit will agree to be the lead convener. And so training and remote learning, all departments will be included here. And of course, the baby of the college simulation, we have several collaborators already identified for this particular subtopic in this domain. And then the last is disaster risk reduction and sustainable health. And it's most logical that the emergency medicine department will be the convener for this group. And of course, we recognize the work of Dr. Irma Macalinaw on this topic on chemical, biologic, radioactive, and nuclear emergencies. So we've written her name here. And then, of course, the Department of Physiology for physiology in extreme environments. So you can see there's still so many blanks, more opportunities for collaboration. And what do we do now moving forward with the agenda? So we've reviewed the overarching framework and the domains generated. So we will be bringing this back to the departments and to the units for them to review and refine their submitted departmental research priorities. So they've done the scoping, they can refine it, they need to generate specific research questions, contact the collaborators. We have provided the first version of this slides to them about 3 weeks ago, but we have to, the core group, that's myself, Dr. Isa, and Professor Inshang, to come up with the guidelines on how to go about this. And then, of course, creating research programs and expanding existing programs, identifying focal persons. Of course, we need to identify topics for residents, fellows, and students, because we still have to fulfill our obligation to these trainees who have research requirements as they enter into their specialty societies. The submission of priority research programs in the departments and units will be by the end of December 2022, and we hope to network with units within UP Manila who have similar existing research endeavors. So those are the ones in green, and then we, of course, hope to implement starting the first quarter of 2023. And how do we monitor? So monitoring periods are at the end of 2023, then 2025 midterm, and then 2027 before we come up with a new research agenda after 2028. So the The technical working group to monitor include ERO, RIDO, and the vice chairs for research. Of course, we would like to determine the impact that we have going through this, pursuing this research agenda. And let me just borrow this diagram from the Philippine National Health Research System agenda. So we go small first. We can have health research related impacts like increasing scientific knowledge, improving research methods, but we can also have policy impacts and service impacts, very important to both UP College of Medicine and the Philippine General Hospital. And of course, we can dream bigger by having also societal impacts. So these are the spheres of impacts that we hope to be able to achieve. And let me just show you the last slide. So this is a borrowed slide from Dr. Isa Harendria during the October 10 meeting. The research agenda is only as good as its implementation. So we hope to get the cooperation of everyone as we move forward this research agenda of UPCM and PGH, and of course, all our other collaborators within UP Manila. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Toral. For the next lecture, let us all please welcome Dr. Eva Cotionco de la Paz, UPNIH Executive Director, to speak on the research thrust of the NIH.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Thank you for inviting me to this important webinar. Exciting research times ahead for the college, the Philippine General Hospital, and UP Manila. I was tasked to give an overview of the research thrusts of the NIH. First, let me just talk about the creation of the National Institutes of Health under the University of the Philippines, Manila. It was established as a National Health Research Center by the Philippine government through the Health Research and Development Act in 1998. And come February of 2023, we are celebrating our 25 years. The NIH serves as an institutional home of a network of researchers and research institutions. Following the mandate of our university, the overall goal of the NIH is to contribute to national development and through research by creating knowledge for public good. The NIH also is one of the core agencies of the Philippine National Health Research Systems, and we contributed to the creation of the National Unified Health Research Agenda. The NURA, you've heard it several times from our previous speakers. It serves as the country's template for health research and development efforts, specifying the areas and topics needed to be addressed in a 5-year scope. And this is in line with the term of a new president of the country. So this has started way back in 2006. After regional and national stakeholders consultations, 6 overall research themes were identified in to be the part of the NURA of 2017 to 2022. And these are as follows: responsive health systems, research to enhance and extend healthy lives, holistic approaches to health and wellness, health resiliency, global competitiveness and innovation in health, equity in health, and lastly, equity in health research. Each of these themes are composed of various and more specific research areas. So we are now in the process of actually developing the next NURA for the next 5 years for the whole country. Now, in the last 5 years, UP Manila has received almost 1.5 billion pesos in research grants, which are aligned to the NURA. With a handful of 32 research faculty, the total grant of the NIH is about 621 million, and for UP College of Medicine, 737 million. The college received a huge grant, especially during the COVID, for the WHO Solidarity Trial. This can be more for the college with more faculty getting grants from PCHRD, which are aligned to the National Unified Health Research Agenda. Now, the research faculty of the NIH is the virtual lifeblood of the NIH and its institutes and centers, and the faculty base has grown. Promising researchers are taken from the different disciplines. They serve as the main workforce of the institutes and centers. We are only a handful, including our Dean Charlotte Chong, and we invite you to consider being part of the NIH research faculty while having your teaching unit at the UP College of Medicine. Since its creation, the NIH has continually made its mark in health research of the country by creating institutes and centers to be the source of relevant, evidence-based health information for health policy development and socially responsive technologies that address the health problems of the country. Now, let me just briefly introduce each of the institutes in the short time that I have to provide you with information on their research thrust, and more importantly, provide you with information and resources available for you through the institutes and centers of the NIH. The Philippine Eye Research Institute was established by a Republic Act way back in 1965. They do research work to prevent blindness. The Institute of Molecular Biology and Biotechnology, it's really from bench to bedside to communities. They make affordable, high-quality diagnostics for the Filipino people. The Institute of Clinical Epidemiology provides quality research for better health of the Filipino people, epidemiological research. The National Telehealth Center is really to empower communities with e-health digital technologies. The Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences ensures utilization of safe, affordable, and efficacious indigenous and synthetic medications, while the Institute of Human Genetics brings genomic medicine closer to the Filipino people through its research work on omics technologies for health. The Institute of Child Health and Human Development improves children's lives through research and innovation. And the Institute of Health Policy and Development Studies ensures that health will be included in all policies and all Republic Acts that are passed in the country. The Philippine National Ear Institute would like to ensure hearing health for all age groups, while the Newborn Screening Reference Center ensures that every Filipino newborn has access to newborn screening. There's a lot of grants coming from the NSRC. I think we have almost 100 billion grants to give away as long as your research is related to screening. The Institute of Herbal Medicine transforms Philippine plants into quality herbal medicines for a healthier, self-reliant nation. And the Newborn Hearing Screening Reference Center ensures that no Filipino newborn shall be deprived of a functional sense of hearing, and they do the national hearing screening program for the Philippines. The Institute on Aging improves the quality of life of Filipinos as they age, and the National Training Center for Biosafety and Biosecurity conducts all capacity building activities to make sure that our laboratories as well as our laboratorians will be safe from any pathogens that can potentially infect. Our youngest addition is the National Clinical Trials and Translation Center, which seeks to be the global leader in clinical trial and clinical management. It was just approved by the BOR last March 24, 2022. The NIH also is the major provider of training for health research ethics and good clinical practice. And this program seeks to build capacity strengthening for responsible human research. We have a number of study groups, and these study groups at the NIH are created as a platform for focus-driven health issues in a trans-institutional collaborative framework. And you can see that these study groups are in collaboration not only with the UP College of Medicine, but as well as the different colleges of UP Manila. Let me now just share with you the significant research output from the institutes of the NIH, which have produced several health-related policies with national impact. We have the Newborn Screening Act of 2004. We have the RA 9709, the Universal Newborn Hearing Screening and Intervention Act, of which the lead is our Dean, Dr. Charlotte Chong. RA 10747, the Rare Disease Act of the Philippines. Both this and the Newborn Screening Act, the lead are the lead for these two Republic Acts is our Chancellor Carmencita Padilla. RA 11358 is the National Vision Screening Program for kindergarten pupils, which was just signed into law in 2019. And the lead is the Director of the Philippine Eye Research Institute, Dr. Leo Cobillan. The NIH also has contributed to products such as herbal medicine. No, you can see that on the left, Lagundi, Sambong, Chaang Gubat, which are now licensed, and it earns through the licensing agreements, the university earns about 10 million a year from this. And we have the RX Box telemedicine system, the lead being Dr. Portia Marcelo and Dr. Eloy Marcelo. And we have the laboratory in a mug, which is a diagnostic device for dengue. And then, of course, the now famous Gen Amplify RT-PCR kit, which was developed by Dr. Raul Destura and his team. And from the laboratory in a mug, actually, a project, the dengue kit, the first company spin-off of the University of the Philippines called Manila Health Tech was established. And the CEO of this company is our research faculty, Dr. Raul Destura. So other contributions of the NIH are in the following aspects: the vaccine effectiveness impact assessment, the dementia toolkit, the National Cochlear Implant Program, and as well as precision medicine initiatives. As we move forward in the next years, together with the colleges of UP Manila, of course, the College of Medicine, from which many of our research faculty come from as their teaching unit, we continue to seek ways to contribute to healthcare of Filipinos by doing research to provide evidence to inform policies and establish programs that will define our future health. And we would like to we are focusing on discoveries and innovations with larger public health impact. And I'm so happy to hear about the development of the harmonized agenda of the PGH and the College of Medicine presented by both Dr. Isa and Dr. Jean Toral. Promote more interdisciplinary research, knowing that our present-day health problems are beyond the scope of a single discipline or area of research practice. So we'd really like to engage with the UP Manila colleges, especially the College of Medicine, and together with the NIH, we can integrate information, data, techniques, tools, perspectives, and concepts to advance understanding of health and disease. We hope that we can build a critical mass of effective researchers with cross-disciplinary competencies to address our major health challenges. And more importantly, as the building goes up and becomes usable space, we are able to provide co-shared lab spaces for faculty and students. And I think with all this in place, we can broaden national, international, and global collaborations, not only for the NIH, but also for the College of Medicine and the different colleges of UP Manila. So thank you very much. I hope I didn't exceed too much of my 10-minute time period. Maraming salamat po.
academic career the research perspective. I'm Dr. Mary Rose Payan of the Department of Ophthalmology and Visual Sciences, and together with Dr. Jean Tural of the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, we will be your hosts for today. This webinar will have 4 parts. Part 1 is research ideas and opportunities for collaboration. Doctors Marisa Alejandria, Jean Toral, and Eva Cotionco de la Paz will be the speakers. Part 2 is research proposal, review, and registration with speakers Dr. Jacinto Blas Mantaring III and Rohani Sena. Part 3, entitled Research Proper, Grant Management, and Study Implementation, will have Drs. Mark Sandoval and Edward Wang as speakers. And Part 4 is Research Products, Publication, Policy, Patent. Drs. Bienvenido Balotro, Marisa Alejandria, and Maria Lisa Antoinette Gonzalez will be the speakers. If you have any questions for our speakers, please write them in the Q&A box or the chat box. There will be a 15-minute open forum at the end of all the lectures. Before we start with our lectures, let us first have a few special messages. I would like to call on Dr. Gerardo G. Hermar, UPCM Faculty Committee Chair, to give his welcome remarks.
Good morning everyone to our webinar, Research Made Easier. The purpose of this webinar is to inform, facilitate, and encourage the faculty to produce meaningful research for the benefit of the college, the university, and the Filipino people. We thank Chancellor Carmencita Padilla, Vice Chancellor Edward Wang, Dean Charlotte Chong, and Associate Dean for Research Marisa Alejandria, and all the speakers for making this collaborative effort a reality. Hopefully, the culture of research is further nurtured so that future generations will be surrounded by reliable bodies of knowledge. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Hermar, for your message. Let us now please welcome UPCM Dean Dr. Charlotte M. Chong to talk about the research thrust of the UPCM.
Chancellor Carmencita Padilla, esteemed faculty members of the UP College of Medicine, first, let me thank the Office of the Associate Dean for Faculty and Students under Dr. Chet Gonzalez and her team and the faculty committee led by Dr. Jerry Hermar. The RIDO, led by Associate Dean for Research, Dr. Isa Halandria, with her team. And of course, UPPGH Aero, led by Dr. Jean Toral. With the harmonized research agenda that we embarked on last October 10, we defined the main strategy, which is to undertake landmark researches while we achieve more interdepartmental collaboration under several research programs that have been prioritized for 2023 to 2028. Further collaboration with existing NIH institutes in UP Manila will allow us to aim to inform policy as well as to extend the impact of these researches nationally with alignment with the NURA. The college, in the relentless pursuit of excellence in research, teaching, and service, will certainly provide the faculty the pathways for contributing to these lofty goals while benefiting from promotion and growth as academics in the university. There's been truly a palpable interest in research as more members of our community, be they students, faculty, and trainees, realize its importance in enriching the life within our college and the hospital. Doctoral studies by research and publication with implementation uniquely developed in the college provide even better opportunities for academic career development. As you will realize, we continue to put in place a better milieu for generating new knowledge, creating innovation teams, and even encouraging research to improve medical education by simulation, while harnessing technology and talent, being the leading transformative medical institution in the country. It is my wish that all of you who are joining today's event will be inspired to navigate what has been a convoluted and difficult path in the past, but is now a pillar for producing the clinician scientists that our country direly needs. and our college as the main driver for this in the university system in the health sciences. Mabuhay po kayong lahat. Mabuhay po ang Kolehiyo ng Medisina.
Thank you, Dean Chong. Now, to give another special message, let us now please welcome UP Manila Chancellor Dr. Carmencita D. Padilla to talk about the UP Manila Research Framework.
Good morning. As a research university, UP Manila is expected to uphold the pillars of training, public service, and research. It is our responsibility to ensure that there is a continuous flow of new knowledge to provide solutions for persistent problems of today and anticipated problems of tomorrow. At the start of my term as your chancellor, I committed to improving the climate of research so that faculty, students, and staff will be encouraged to pursue research either individually or as part of a group or in collaboration with colleagues from other universities. It has been a long journey to provide a UP Manila framework for research, and today you will see the various components of a true research university. I welcome you to this webinar, jointly sponsored by the Office of the Vice Chancellor for Research, the UPCM RIDO from the Office of the Associate Dean for Research, and the Faculty Committee of the UPCM. This is an offshoot of a webinar in September on mapping the course to an academic career at the UPCM. The webinar targets the faculty, the mobilizers of research. In this forum, you will appreciate the research support system provided by the UP Manila for the major steps in the process. From coming up with a topic using NURA, short for the National Unified Health Research Agenda, or the Harmonized Agenda of the UPCM-PGH, to the submission of the proposal, to the actual undertaking of the research with the support of the Research Grants Administration Office, or ARGAL, and the newly opened Office of Research Integrity, to the application for patents of research products with the support of the Technology Transfer and Business Development Office, or TTBDO. There will also be a discussion on where to publish, incentive and grants, and awards and recognition given to researchers. Many of those before us have made research not only a rewarding career, but a platform to help greatly in solving our priority and pressing health problems. As a leading health university, UP Manila is expected to be more focused on cutting-edge researches that impact on the health of our people. Some examples are biomedical researches, epidemiological studies, researches on health services, and the behavioral, social, and economic factors that affect health. This and more are to ensure that conducting research is made easier and facilitated by an integrated program of modern facilities, streamlined processes, and access to grants and incentives. I reviewed the list of registered participants, and I'm happy to see the mix: young and old, beginner and seasoned researchers. This webinar is open to all, and I hope that we will have another webinar for the other faculty members who missed this episode. I commend all of you for taking this useful and necessary step to research engagement and treating research as a vital component of your profession as educators and caregivers. Remember that research enhances your teaching. I wish you a productive mapping of research as a major task and prospective career. These are very important, very significant steps to strengthen one of our university's major pillars, which is research. Let us all ensure their success. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat at mabuhay.
Thank you, Chancellor Padilla. Now for the last special message, let us now all please welcome UP Manila Vice Chancellor for Research, Dr. Edward Wang, to talk about an overview and introduction to research offices.
Thank you, Mayos. Let me share screen lang. Okay. Good morning, everyone. So when you enter the website of the UP Manila for research, it is stated there as a health science university. UP Manila regards research as a hallmark through which the university serves as a major contributor to national health goals. So it goes without saying that research is one of the lifelines through which we, the faculty, collaborate with government, other universities, the private sector, and even industry to provide answers and solutions to the health problems of our people. Now, in the recent past, there has been a dramatic change in the research landscape of the UP Manila. And this research landscape has allowed us to pursue this mandate. So not only has there been a heightened awareness of the research process, there has been an increase in the quantity and quality of research over the past decade. There is now a steady stream of national and international collaborations, rapidly increasing numbers of government and university-funded projects. There's a record number of faculty among you who are recognized for research achievements, and a similarly increasing number of faculty researchers influencing government policy and practice guidelines. There's also recently developed a palpable interest in innovations of biomedical devices and biotechnology. Now, these achievements do not occur overnight. They have to be the result of a sustained effort over time by our university. And even today, one must recognize the confluence of different things influencing and enhancing our research enterprise. So we must acknowledge our chancellor, who herself a research scientist, has consistently pursued a robust research infrastructure for the UP Manila. Then you have a dean who herself is research faculty, who has instituted programs to further develop faculty and student potential in research, and a PGH director who has poured an unprecedented amount of money into developing research in the hospital. So from another perspective, what I'm saying is this is the perfect alignment of stars, and this is the perfect time to develop research and to pursue research. However, despite all of this input and progress, in our conversations with many of our faculty, many of our colleagues remain unaware of what is happening in the UP Manila research scene, and in fact do not know what really is in store for them in terms of research support. Which is why, together with Jerry Hermar and Isa Alejandria, we thought about hosting today's webinar. So note the program is divided into sections, di ba? Sinabi na yan several times today. And the sections really follow the research process from looking for an idea, so the ideation until the production of a publication, a policy, or a product patent. So let's take a quick look at this research program today. First, there is the inclusive leadership of both Associate Deans Isa Alejandria and Aero Chief Jean Toral, who are pioneering the harmonization of the research agenda between college and hospital. Now, this is followed by, what other word can I use, but indefatigable NIH Executive Director, Eva Cotionco de la Paz, who will articulate the many research programs of the NIH, where faculty can collaborate and where faculty can actually join. And before we begin a study, you need ethics clearance. And who better to discuss this than the very face of research ethics, Dr. Jojo Mantaring. Now, ethical clearance for animals goes to our in-house veterinarian, Dr. Senas Iacuk, which continues to standardize all of our animal labs. Iacuk has even taken the extra cudgels to make us appreciate animals as partners in research and in both physical and mental health. So now that you've gotten your clearance and your grant money, which of course Dr. Gonzalez will talk about a little more later, you need Argao to manage the grant. See, Dr. Mark Sandoval has left no stone unturned in streamlining the procedures of Argao and organizing it into a well-oiled machine over the past few years. And to make sure we're able to undertake research worthy of public trust and scientific scrutiny, we have now research integrity, only recently elevated to the status of an office, the only one of its kind in the country. And finally, when we have the products of our research, how do you connect with industry? You scale up and you want to commercialize and earn the royalties for yourself and for our university. Dr. Bien Balotro, former Dean of Pharmacy, will share with us the commitment of the Office of the UP Manila TTBDO to connect with industry while at the same time protecting our intellectual property rights. But what if our products are manuscripts? Associate Dean Isa will tell us how to choose the proper journal for publication, the same way she has consistently been able to publish in international high-impact journals. And finally, Associate Dean Chet Gonzalez, always trying to find benefits for the faculty, will round it up with an update on different incentives and grants available from the UP College of Medicine, and this will be augmented with a consolidated listing of similar grants and awards from UP Manila and the UP system. So now, how do all of these units interact? Here you have a part of the UP Manila organizational chart, showing the units which support research, those with check marks. In the middle, you have the support offices for research, all under the Office of the Vice Chancellor for Research, under what we term collectively as the Research Executive Committee. Then you have the college and the hospital, both under the University Research Executive Committee, so together with other colleges, other associate deans for research. And finally, you have the NIH in the same category as other colleges, but which remains a non-degree granting unit. So welcome to this webinar. Good morning, sit back and enjoy the entire morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wang. To begin part one of our webinar on research ideas and opportunities for collaboration, let us all please welcome Dr. Marisa Alejandria, UPCM Associate Dean for Research, to talk about the UPCM PGH Harmonized Research Agenda development process. Thank you, Dr.
Okay. Thank you, Mayos, and magandang umaga sa ating mga nanonood, our esteemed faculty and virtual audience. Okay. So let me start off this webinar on how we give birth to research ideas. Let me just pull out my screen. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So how do we give birth to research ideas, research programs that will provide science-based solutions towards delivery of quality healthcare, which is our main goal while we do research. Okay. So the research process is iterative. It starts with asking the cutting-edge question, searching, appraising, synthesizing the best available evidence, identifying the gaps, answering the gaps by generating evidence either through primary research or research using existing data. And then from this, we can translate the findings from this research into policies and guidelines that are implemented through health systems and operations research or even quality improvement research. Then these policies and guidelines will then be evaluated for impact, leading to new.
Thank you, Dr. Mantaring. Let us now please welcome Dr. Rohani Sena, IACUC Chair and BBC member, to speak on the Institutional Animal Care and Use Committee and the Institutional Biosafety and Biosecurity Committee.
Good day, everyone. I'm Dr. Rohani Navarro, and I'll be presenting a brief overview about the Institutional Animal Care and Use Committee and Institutional Biosafety and Biosecurity Committee. So what is IACUC? IACUC oversees and enhances the well-being or welfare of animals involved in research or teaching. It strengthens the quality of your research and instruction involving live vertebrates. Meaning, for example, if you have research and you want to publish a paper involving animals, for sure the journal would require clearance from your IACUC committee. It advances the scientific knowledge and ensures compliance to applicable laws and standards, both local and international. IACUC supports the principle of the 3 R's, which is R for replacement, refinement, and reduction. Replacement, it means we use other alternatives other than the use of animals. You refine the method, you minimize or reduce or eliminate unnecessary pain and distress to the animal, or even reduce the number of animals for your research without compromising the statistical soundness of your study. IACUC is governed by its legal basis, the Animal Welfare Act of 1998 or RA 8485 as amended by RA 10631. This law covers that the unlawful act, including maltreatment of animals in experiment or research, is not permitted by the Committee of Animal Welfare. It also involves the 5 freedoms of animals and 5 domains, which provides freedom from hunger, thirst, discomfort, pain, injury, or disease, and the animal's ability to express their normal behavior, as well as freedom from fear and distress. The 5 domains includes proper nutrition, environment, health, behavior, and mental state of the animal. And this law, the regulatory oversight is the Department of Agriculture, Bureau of Animal Industry, Animal Health and Welfare Division. Okay. Another department order was released by the Department of Agriculture, which is the DA-AU 40 series of 1999, which covers the rules and regulations on the conduct of scientific procedures using animals. This administrative order prompted the establishment of IACUC in the Philippines back in 1999. And this admin order covers the regulation and guidelines of laboratory animal care and use. So this guideline is also available online for free. So what does these laws and guidelines say? It says that all procedures must be compliant to acceptable standards, both local and international, that the animal facility must be registered to the Bureau of Animal Industry. So whether it's an animal holding facility, breeding, or surgical facility. So when we say animal holding, it could be for small-sized animals like rodents, rabbits, and medium-sized animals such as pigs, dogs, and goats, or even large animals such as cow, carabao, or horses that are used for research. So before you even start thinking about or designing your research, you must consider whether an animal facility is available and registered at the Bureau of Animal Industry. The guideline also requires the submission of the application for authorization form, and that the animal research must secure an approval from the IACUC. And any violation of the Animal Welfare Act is punishable by law. So what type of research requires IACUC? So IACUC requires the review of protocols involving live vertebrate animals. For example, rodents, rabbits, guinea pigs, cats, and dogs, and even wildlife animals, especially if there's involvement of animal handling. Research such as say for example the use of Drosophila or other invertebrate animals does not require IACUC review. Okay, so when you're ready to submit your protocol, you have to accomplish the Appendix C protocol review form, which can be found at the ARGAO website. So if you visit their website, you can download the forms, and you can also see the frequently asked questions related to the use of animals for research. After completing your IACUC form, you may submit these forms to the UP Manila IACUC official email. Once you completed the submission, your protocol will undergo review, and the committee will decide whether your protocol would require minor or major revision. Okay. And of course, after you have responded to all the questions and satisfied all the requirements for IACUC, the IACUC will issue a certificate that's valid for 2 years. This certificate also indicates the number of animals that will be used for your study. Okay. And if you need to amend or renew your protocol, you must submit the updated forms to the IACUC committee for renewal. Okay. So one of the requirements before doing any animal study is of course training, and the IACUC also offers these trainings, both lecture and hands-on training upon request. Although IACUC also offers this training at the minimum twice a year. Okay. IACUC also supports the animal facility registration within UP Manila. So if you're planning to have your animal facility registered, please coordinate with IACUC. So right now we have a number of animal facility within UP Manila that are registered under the Bureau of Industry. Some of the animal facility are still undergoing renovation. That's why we have to wait a bit more for these facilities to secure clearance. No? But there are other facilities available outside UP Manila in case you need specialized facilities. Okay. And of course, if you have questions, you may email us in the contact information shown in your screen. Okay. So for the Institutional Biosafety and Biosecurity Committee, this committee is an oversight that ensures appropriate measures in biosafety and biosecurity in handling biological materials in research. So meaning to say all research involving biological materials would require IBBC clearance. So what type of protocols are required to have IBBC clearance? Research protocols involving handling of human or animal blood, body fluids or tissues, and other potentially infectious materials, any transgenic animals or plants, the use of recombinant DNA and other genomic editing technologies such as CRISPR-Cas, any biological agent in risk group 2, 3, or 4 according to the WHO standards, toxins of biological origins, and vectors. Okay. So each of the college or institution has their designated biosafety officer, which will review these protocols prior to committee review, and procedures must adhere to acceptable biosafety standards. So similar with the IACUC, you may visit the ARGAO website and you can download the forms. So there are only 2 forms that's required, the IBBC Form 1 and Form 2. And after completing these forms, you may submit these to the official IBBC email. Okay. You may also find the frequently asked questions in the ARGAO website. Okay. And these, after completing the review, the IBBC will issue a certificate that's valid for a year. And if you need to renew this certificate, you just need to submit the updated forms. And again, if you have any questions, you may reach us in the contact information that's shown in your screen. So with that, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Sana. Now let us proceed to Part 3 entitled Research Proper, Grant Management, and Study Implementation. Our first speaker is Dr. Mark Sandoval, Head of ARGAO. Let us all please welcome Dr. Sandoval.
Take a close look at the terms on this page. Which among these terms are you familiar with? So we can see line item budget, MOOE, capital outlay, certificate of service, PPMP, reimbursement, liquidation. But do you really understand what these terms mean? Okay, so in research, we as a scientist are more familiar with the scientific aspects. So we're more familiar with the study design, with the technical and ethical soundness of your paper, statistical analysis, writing the proposal. But I'm sure many of us are not familiar with these administrative terms related to our research. So this is where actually our office comes in. So I'd like to talk about today how the Research Grants Administration Office can help our faculty researchers. I am Dr. Mark Anthony Sandoval. I'm currently heading this office. So at the end of this session, you, the learner, must be able to be familiarized with various steps in research administration, to understand the rationale for each of these steps, and lastly, to know how our office can help you in each of these steps. Think of ARGAO as the bridge between the researchers on one hand and also the funding agencies on the other. So we assist investigators with regards to the administrative concerns of the research projects. Because most researchers are not familiar with these administrative concerns, we want to lessen the burden for you and assist you with this. Now, with regards to the funding agencies, we want you and also UP Manila to be able to comply with the rules and regulations set forth by your funding agencies. So these are the various steps in research management which we follow from start to end. So first would be registration, registering your protocols with us, ethics review, preparation of the line item budget, endorsement of the proposal, preparation, review, and approval of the memorandum of agreement. Once approved, there will be transfer of funds to UP Manila. Then we will have an orientation or research administration with the project. We'll be processing your cash advance, salaries and honoraria, disbursements, procurement, coming up with a financial report, return of unexpended fund, applying maybe for a research dissemination grant, and also giving you publication awards if eligible. Okay, so it's a rather long list, but we won't be talking about all of them, just a few of the important ones. So the vision of ARGAO is to be recognized by you among our research stakeholders as an invaluable and dependable provider of vital administrative support for the successful implementation of research projects in UP Manila. And our mission is to provide the highest level of administrative support to investigators for the successful implementation of UP Manila research projects while ensuring compliance to regulatory and funding agencies. So first, let's talk about registration. So all UP Manila research projects at any point of the research must be registered. Okay, so you can register it at the protocol level, even if it's already completed, even if after it's been published, and there will be no penalty if you're not able to register from the start. Registration is very simple. You just go to the website of ARGAO and click on the tab registration, and rest assured the registration certificate will be emailed to the project investigator, principal investigator, after 1 working day. This is how your certificate of registration will look like. Registration is important because it makes sure that your research project is counted and included in the database, and so that it will be labeled as one of the research products of UP Manila. And you will need this eventually for ethics review, for availment of grants and incentives. Okay, so this is how the website looks like when it comes to registration. Next, as I've mentioned, you will need this registration for you to be able to submit to the different review boards of UP Manila. So if you're dealing with human participants and specimens, that would be the Research Ethics Board. If your study is dealing with vertebrate animals, you go to IACUC. For microorganisms, you go to IBBC. Okay. Eventually, when your study needs external funding, you will need to craft a line item budget, or LIB. And here we talk about direct costs, which are the expenses incurred in execution of the project, considered indispensable to its operations. So you have your personal services, ito yung pasweldo sa mga staff, and you, the project leader. You have your maintenance and other operating expenses, which are for the operations. And capital outlay, these are more for equipment and infrastructure. Okay. We also talk about indirect costs. These are expenses incurred by the implementing agency, in this case, UP Manila, in evaluating and monitoring the project. The details about these you will see in our orientation videos posted on our website. So this is how a line item budget looks like. If it's daunting at first, don't worry. We can assist you, and we can even suggest what other entries you would want to add. Okay. Next would be the endorsement of the proposal. ARGAO will facilitate this for you. You do not need to hop from one office to the other, going to the Office of the Vice Chancellor for Research, Office of the Chancellor, to request for one. It will be us who will do the paperwork for you and eventually endorse this to your funding agency. Next, there will be the preparation and review of the Memorandum of Agreement between UP Manila as an implementing agency and your funding agency. Okay, so this is a legal document or contract between the two entities. There are drafts available at the website of the UP Manila Legal Office. Eventually, you can tweak the draft based on whatever specifications your study has. You submit this to Argao. We will have it reviewed by our legal office. So again, once cleared by the legal office, we will have the chancellor sign it for you. You don't need to hop from one office to another. So this is a screenshot of the website of the UP Manila Legal Office where there are downloadable forms. Now let's talk about research grants. Okay, so if your research needs external funds, these are among the top extramural funding agencies which support UP Manila. So there's the OST, PCHRD, DOH, CHED, the UP System, the Philippine Institute for Traditional and Alternative Healthcare, etc. Okay. We also have private funding agencies, also global agencies like the World Health Organization, and also foreign universities. Okay. Now, eventually the funds will be transferred to UP Manila. We will get in touch with your funding agency to ask for documentary proof of the fund transfer to UP Manila, and eventually UP Manila will issue official receipt to your funding agency. Then once there are already funds, we will set up an orientation with you with regards to research administration. Uploaded in the Argao website are now 5 orientation videos on the following topics. For number 5, that would be delivery and acceptance of your procured items. Okay? So we've decided to upload all of these videos already, so you can go back to them at any time. And then we set up a Zoom meeting to clarify any questions that these videos have not yet answered. Government-funded researches are governed by stringent rules and regulations, especially those on procurement, and are subject to audit by the Commission on Audit. Okay, and let's just set the expectations, okay, about these research grants. So first, the research grants will not be given to the project leader. The grant will be deposited to the account of UP Manila. The project leader will not provide the salaries and honoraria of the project staff. It will be UP Manila who will directly pay the project staff. And we will orient you with regards to the documents needed for these. The project leader will not procure the materials and equipment for the research project, especially those 15,000 pesos and above. UP Manila will procure them for you following the procurement process of the government. But the project leader can apply for a cash advance, which will be cash on hand for the daily expenses of the research project. For the financial report, UP Manila Accounting Department and we in Argao help you with the preparation of these financial reports for submission to your funding agencies. If there is any unexpended budget, this will be returned to the funding agency by UP Manila upon your go signal. We also process the applications for research dissemination grants and publication awards, okay? But this is the subject of another talk. Okay? So I hope I was able to ease your anxiety when you enter into these externally funded research projects. Don't hesitate to contact us. This is our landline, and I hope you could visit our website. There is a treasure trove of information already in our website. And I want to assure you that Argao is here to help you. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Dr. Sandoval. Let's now welcome back Dr. Edward Wang, ORI Head, to talk on the Office of Research Integrity.
Thank you again, Mayos. And again, hello, everyone. I speak on behalf of the Office of Research Integrity. And I think it will be easier to understand the office if I give examples. No? So let's start with this case. Sometime in the 1970s, Dr. Summerlin, who was an oncology fellow at the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, claimed successful skin transplantation without immunosuppression, only to be found that the black skin on the white mice had been colored with a felt tip pen. So this case of fabrication and several other cases of scientific misconduct caused a scandal, which media quickly picked up and which became a hot issue in US Congress, prompting the first definition of misconduct in science. So falsification, fabrication, plagiarism, or practices that seriously deviate from those that are commonly accepted within the scientific community. So after a lot of debate, the oversight then was eventually assigned to the Office of Research Integrity. And this was an office created in 1993 under the US DOH. So the three big sins of research integrity are FFP, so falsification, fabrication, and plagiarism. Now these boxes show the big three, on the right side, and on the other end of the spectrum is the ideal, where we practice what we call responsible conduct of research. Now in between is what we call sloppy science or questionable research practice, which actually is more common than the three big sins of FFP and probably does more damage and harm to science than FFP. For example, not respecting authorship guidelines, highlighting only what you think is a good result, supporting predatory journals, and the like. Now, so RI makes sure that the research that we undertake is done responsibly and is therefore trustworthy. So whoever reads it, whoever uses it, knows that it's trustworthy and it was done correctly, responsibly. While research ethics protects your research participants. So yan yung distinction ng dalawa. Research integrity versus research ethics. Now, as a research organization like the UP Manila, the research enterprise grows, issues of research integrity inevitably become more common, or at least become more tempting. Diba? We have an increase in the quality, quantity of researchers, maraming funding, merit promotion based on how much we can, how many people we can collaborate with, publish, etc. So yung temptation to violate these principles of research integrity becomes heightened, requiring us to create an Office of Research Integrity. So that's just one of the reasons. At the same time, there are many international agencies and institutions which will not collaborate with you kung wala tayong Office of Research Integrity. So this was very, very important for us to create because of the increasing number of international collaborations also. Now, this is a timeline of the Research Integrity Office. Actually, we started as a committee, and this was established in October of 2019 when I was given the chance to attend the 6th World Conference on Research Integrity in Hong Kong. Then after that, despite the pandemic, the committee was able to hold regular webinars, workshops, initiating and ongoing research. And by the way, since we're talking about ongoing research, please allow me to plug we will send you a survey form after this. And you can help with that research by participating in that. Now, we were able also to write up our own code for the responsible conduct of research. And just this September, this year, we were elevated to the status of an office. Now, expanding also to include more members from all the different colleges of UP Manila. So the goal here is to include everyone in all the different colleges. So each college will have a representative to the expanded Office of the Research Integrity. So now the UP Manila Code for the Responsible Conduct of Research contains a preamble, principles, the responsibilities, and a note on what to do with violations. And the principles are very much based on the APEC principles of research integrity. So pareho lang tayo sa ibang Asia-Pacific countries. And the UP Manila Code has been actually approved and adopted by the entire UP system. So of the two functions, our two functions are, number one, to promote research integrity through education and training in order to create what we call that culture of responsible conduct of research. The second function would be, of course, to respond to allegations of research misconduct. So cases can be elevated to us, to the office, if they cannot be settled within your own particular unit. The office is recommendatory. The final decision rests on the unit seeking guidance from the office. And we can be reached through the Office of the Vice Chancellor for Research. And on behalf of the team, thank you for listening, and I hope you're enjoying the morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wang. So far, we have tackled many aspects of what we need to know in doing research in UP Manila, UPCM, and PGH. To start part 4 of our webinar entitled Research Products, Publication Policy Patent, let us please welcome Dr. Benvenido Balotro to talk about the Technology Transfer and Business Development Office.
Good morning. I am Associate Professor Bienvenido S. Balotro from the College of Pharmacy and the OIC Director of the UP Manila Technology Transfer and Business Development Office. I would like to thank the organizers of the activity for the invitation. I will be talking about the intellectual property as a background to understand the function of our office before introducing the UP Manila Technology Transfer and Business Development Office as a research unit of UP Manila. This will be the outline of my presentation. I will talk about IP, its importance, the enabling laws on IP in the Philippines, and our office, the UP Manila TTBDO. So first, what is intellectual property? Intellectual property refers to the creations of the mind. It can be an invention, a patent or utility model, a design, an industrial design, a brand name, a trademark, or a literary or artistic work, a copyright. Shown here is an example of the way we encounter IPs in our daily life. For IP is ubiquitous or is found everywhere. For example, the meal you probably bought from the fast food chain earlier today are all protected by IP rights. We have all the IPs in a Jollibee meal, for example, from the utility model or petty patent to a trademark. Here are some examples of inventions coming from the university, just to show you that the university research environment is a rich source of intellectual properties. Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook in February 2004 at Harvard University. Gatorade was invented by a team of scientists from the University of Florida. Hepatitis B vaccine was developed in the University of Indiana. Stanley Cohen of Stanford and Herbert Boyer of the University of California, San Francisco, applied for a patent on recombinant technology in 1974. It was granted in 1980, and Boyer eventually co-founded Genentech Inc. in 1976. Google has its origins in Backrub, a research project that was begun in 1996 by PhD students Larry Page and Sergey Brin at Stanford University. Unfortunately, because of lack of time, we cannot discuss in full the nature and characteristics of all intellectual properties I have mentioned. But our office, the UPM TTBDO, conducts regular awareness campaigns in the university on IP technology, transfer, and licensing that you can attend. So why is IP important? First, because IP makes innovation possible. It incentivizes innovators to continue creating new technologies by offering reward systems which recognizes their hard work and have the financial resources necessary to reinvest in the next generation of innovations. Second is because IP provides consumers with confidence in the authenticity and quality of the products they purchase. For example, when a product bears a trademark, consumers are assured that the product is genuine and supported by the company that owns the trademark. Third and last is because IP makes our lives more productive, fun, and sustainable. And thus, with this motivation, helps others to reinvest in new innovations. Now for the enabling laws of intellectual property in the Philippines. Our 1987 Constitution recognized the importance of intellectual property such that in Article 14, Section 13 of the Constitution, it states that the state shall protect and secure the exclusive rights of scientists, inventors, artists, and other gifted citizens to their intellectual property and creations, particularly when beneficial to the people, for such period as may be provided by law. The governing law for intellectual property in the country is Republic Act 8293, known as the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines, with the following provisions. Republic Act 155, or the Technology Transfer Act of 2009, was passed to facilitate the transfer and promote the utilization of intellectual property for the national benefit. It was patterned after the Bagh-Oil Act of the United States with the same objectives, its main goal being to translate the results of government-funded research and development into useful products and services that will benefit the Filipinos. IPOPIL is the government agency mandated to administer and implement state policies on intellectual property to strengthen the protection of intellectual property rights in the country. And these are the IPs protected in the Philippines through the IPOPIL: patents, utility models, IDs or industrial designs, trademarks, and copyright protection. This may be sought and be protected here in the Philippines. At this point, let me introduce to you our office, the UP Manila Technology Transfer and Business Development Office, or UPMTTBDO. Before Republic Act 155 was enacted in 2009, intellectual property rights and related activities were managed by the Intellectual Property Office, IPO, under the Chief of the University of the Philippines Manila Legal Office. The University of the Philippines underwent restructuring following the promulgation of the Philippine Technology Transfer Act of 2009. Hence, in 2011, UP revised its intellectual property policy to align with the governing laws. And in the next year, 2012, the University of the Philippines System Technology Transfer and Business Development Office was created, replacing the Technology Licensing Office. Because of the organizational changes at the UP systems level, and in recognition of the expanding role of an IPO in the university, UP Manila moved to create the UP Manila Technology Transfer and Business Development Office to manage intellectual property, innovation, and technology transfer in the campus. With the approval of the UP Board of Regents, UPMTTBDO was established in August 28, 2015. So now, UPMTTBDO is one of the offices under the Vice Chancellor for Research, headed by Dr. Edward Wang. It provides assistance to UP Manila faculty, students, researchers, and staff on how to apply their unique know-how, skills, and research expertise for wide-scale societal and economic benefits. The objectives of our office are as follows: to protect the intellectual property rights of the UP Manila research community, craft policies and guidelines based on knowledge and evidence-based research, and transfer the technologies developed by the UP Manila research community to the industry for the benefit of the general population. Our mandate is to seek, secure, and scale to serve. To seek, we stimulate the proactive disclosure of research outputs and creative works in the university. We secure by delivering operative and decisive technology assessments towards the realization of relevant intellectual property protection. We scale to serve by catalyzing technology deployment for the public good while balancing the advancement and sustainability of a culture of innovation in the university. These are the services offered by UPMTTBDO: intellectual property campaigns, patent utility model protection, industrial design protection, technology licensing, intellectual property audits, trademark registration, patent cooperation treaty protection, awareness campaigns such as this, advisory services and IP disclosure portals, copyright registration, business development, and legal assistance. Our team is headed by the director, and at present, I am the OIC director of the office. The office is composed of the Technology Licensing and Business Development Unit tasked to process the commercialization of our technologies. Mr. Romeo Kiambao is the TLBD manager, assisted by business development officers. The Technology and Intellectual Property Management Unit is tasked to file and manage the IP applications of the university. Headed by the manager, Engineer Kevin Ocampo, the team consists of technology transfer officers. Serving as the backbone of the operations of the office is the Legal Compliance and Operations Management Unit, composed of our Legal Compliance Officer, Attorney Mary Joyce Manuel, and admin officers of the unit. Currently, we have 110 active case disclosures, 143 active IPRs, 6 granted patents, 29 registered utility models, 13 registered trademarks, and 39 registered copyrights being maintained, secured, and protected. You can have an overview of our portfolio by browsing our website at ttbdo@upm.edu.ph. Probably you have heard about two most successful technologies under our portfolio, Lagundi and Sambong. Lagundi pork cup was developed more than 20 years ago. The first license issued was in 1995, and sales due to licensing of the technology for Lagundi has reached 1 billion pesos in 2012. Similarly, Sambong's first license was issued in 1995, and sales have reached 70 million pesos in 2018. At present, UPMTT BDO manages a wide range of technologies, some of them ready for technology transfer, not only herbal products, but products for health and wellness, digital health and ICT, vaccines, diagnostics, therapeutics, medical devices, and cosmetics. Thank you very much for your attention. The TTBDO is always ready to serve you. If you have any questions later, I would be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Dr. Balotro. Let us now proceed to our next talk on finding the right journal. Let us all please welcome back Dr. Marisa Alejandria, UPCM Associate Dean for Research. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, Mayos. Let me share my screen. Okay. Okay, so now let me share with you now how to find the right journal for your completed research. Okay, assuming you have written the manuscript already. Okay, so here are some tips. So first, you need to be able to identify the theme or the themes of your work. You need to be able to clearly define what your work is all about, so that you will be able to come up with a list of journals where your work might fit, based on what you know and based on your literature review. You can look at the references, your references of your paper and see, your literature review where they are published. So you can, those are potential sources of journals that you can choose from, based on your lit review. And then you have to be able to pick your niche. Is your work on economics, quality of care, quality improvement, epidemiology, managed care, health policy? So that will also help define the journal, where you can publish your manuscript. So it's usual to pick 3 to 5 journals, no? So it's all right to dream, no? Think of the ideal journal, your dream journal, a high impact journal, for example, Lancet, New England Journal, or BMJ. Put that in the list, no? So these are dream journals where the acceptance rates actually is very low, no? And they have very high rejection rates. So we define this as less than 10% acceptance rate. And then one on-target journal where the likelihood of acceptance is more realistic, like 10% to 60%. And then 1 or 2 safety nets, which are likely to accept your manuscript, no? So this is defined as a 60% or better chance of acceptance. Okay, so list down at least 3 to 5 journals, no, that would fit your work. Now, how high, no, would you aim? Should you go for the top 5 general medical journals in your field, or the top journal in your subspecialty area? So of course, it depends again, no, on your topic. Is it for the general audience, for a subspecialty journal? And whether you will aim very high or low will depend on your patience, no, and vulnerability of your ego. How much rejection are you willing to accept? Okay, so think about the target journal before you start writing. If you have a target journal already, so that's one way to do it. Or if you have no idea yet, no, of which target journal you're going to submit, then aim to write a very clear manuscript, no? Okay, and then in choosing, again, you depends on your work, no, the scope of your work. Is it basic or clinical research? Is it for a generalist or a specialist audience? Would you want to go to for the traditional journal that has a print issue, or you're okay with an electronic journal, no print issue? And you might also consider whether you would submit to a journal that has an open access, so higher readability and access for readers, versus a subscription journal. Okay, so you need to be able to balance the desire to publish in top quality journals with the need for rapid publication. So do you want are you in a hurry to publish, and then are your results of high impact? Then if you think it's a high impact result and it will change practice, then aim for a top quality journal. But if you think it's not, it's just a similar finding that supports another article that has been published, and maybe then go for a lower journal, no, and so that your acceptance is higher. Okay, so again, so balancing, top quality journals tends to have always higher rejection rates, no, so that will delay your publication. And if you're in a hurry to publish for promotion purposes or so, then maybe that's not the best that's not the best choice, no. Then you may also consider the impact factor, no, of the journal. So the impact factor is a measure of the frequency with which the average article in a journal has been cited in a particular year, no. Okay, so again, so draw up a prioritized list of 3 to 5 journals, no, according to impact factor. Okay, then more tips. So how to choose the right journal? So depends on the key findings of your research and the implications of your findings, no. Is it for a local audience, a national audience, international audience, for a specialist, a generalist, or subspecialist? So that will guide you in your choice of journal. Then choose a journal that's reputable and that is read by your colleagues. Choose a journal that you read, okay, that is read by your peers, no. And then make sure that the journal that you choose is appropriate to your chosen format, no? Because some journals do not accept case reports. There are journals that do not accept systematic reviews or meta-analysis. So you have to check that out, no? What types of articles they publish, okay? So again, keep the journal and your intended audience in mind as you write. Focus on your findings that are of interest to your readers. And then with regards to structure and style, then check the instructions on the length and format, no, of submissions. So always check the specific instructions to the authors, which is published by the journal that you have chosen, okay? So make sure that they accept the type of paper that you are going to submit. And then this is a helpful resource, no, on compendium of instructions to authors, the Mulford Library at the Medical College of Ohio. Okay. Now, when you write or when you submit, no, your manuscript to a specific journal, usually, in general, the editors have this 4 selection criteria that they look at, no, in screening your manuscript. So is your paper methodologically sound and robust? Is it ethical? No? So they also look at the ethical approval if it is research that's done in humans needing ethical review. Is it of interest and relevance, no, to the readers of the journal? Of course, is it original research and is it generalizable? So in general, these are the 4 criteria that editors look at, no? Now, some tips, no, what to do if your submission is rejected. Do more research about the journal readership and types of paper that they publish. It may be that you overlook that this is not really the journal for your type of topic, no? Okay. And then if the editors or the reviewers send you reviews, no, on your manuscript, think about your findings critically, discuss with colleagues, be honest about the implications and limitations of your paper, no? So read the reviewers' comments because it can help improve your paper when you submit it to another journal. Okay, so swallow your pride and submit somewhere else. So think objectively about the findings or the reviewers' comments and then work on it to improve your paper. Okay. How about if you get conditional acceptance? Okay, so you do not have to make also the suggested changes, but you have to answer all the reviewers' concerns. So give convincing reasons if you're unwilling to change something with regards to the comments of the authors, or if you don't agree. And if reviewers give conflicting advice, then seek guidance from the editor. So for minor revisions, one author can revise the paper. For major revisions, you have to discuss and divide the work, okay? And it's always good practice to prepare a response addressing each point in order and indicate where you made the changes, provide the page and paragraph references. Be polite and diplomatic. Count your blessings. Don't rewrite your paper completely. And keep the final acceptance letter up after you've addressed all the comments. Okay. How about if you get an unconditional acceptance? No, you're very lucky that your work is has a groundbreaking result, no, and it will change, no, the practice, and you get unconditional acceptance. Praise God and celebrate. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now, just to give you some resources, no, on how to help you write your manuscript clearly and to ensure that it will at least be accepted, no. This is a very important, very helpful resource, no, the Equator Network, Enhancing the Quality and Transparency of Health Research. It contains a compendium of writing guides for every type of study. So it contains the consort instructions to on how to write if your manuscript is a clinical trial. They have also guidance for observational studies, diagnostic accuracy studies, systematic reviews. So all types of research, economic evaluation, it will provide you guidance on how to write your paper. It provides the structure, and most journals now and editors would follow these instructions, these guidance for specific study designs. So they ask you to check if you fulfill the items in these instructions on how to write for each type of study design. So this is a very good resource, very helpful resource. Okay. Then locally, these are the 2 journals in UP Manila that you can submit. The Acta Medica Filipina, which is our National Health Science Journal, it's Scopus Index. Okay. And then we have the Philippine Journal of Health Research and Development. So and then for guidance also on scientific writing, every year the Department of Clinical Epidemiology holds a scientific paper writing workshop towards the end of the 2nd sem. It's for our students, but we open it up to UPCM faculty and outside who would like to know more about scientific paper writing. And lastly, just to end, that the importance of publishing your work. So the research is not complete unless you have written it and published it. And if you publish it, it should be read and understood by the scientific community. Okay, so it doesn't end with just publishing in an obscure journal. It has to be in a right journal that will be read by the scientific community. So we owe it to our research participants whom we included in our project to publish our results, whether it's a positive or a negative result. So that's it for finding the right journal. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Alejandria. For our last talk this morning, let us now please welcome Dr. Maria Lisa Antoinette Gonzalez, UPCM Associate Dean for Faculty and Students, to speak to us on incentives, awards, and merits.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Maria Lisa Antoinette Gonzalez, the Associate Dean for Faculty and Students. For this webinar, I was given the task to talk briefly on research incentives, awards, and merits for the faculty in UP College of Medicine. Publication is required for all new faculty entering the college. Therefore, one incentive for doing research is for faculty who would like to become regular faculty in the College of Medicine. A faculty with an MD degree has completed a residency and fellowship training program or a PhD and has a publication as sole or lead author in a reputable refereed journal is given an entry rank of associate professor. A faculty with a master's degree or an MD degree with at least one publication as co-author in a reputable refereed journal is given an entry rank of assistant professor. The published research should be recent and not more than 5 years prior to the date of appointment. This table shows the entry or initial rank for faculty appointed in the College of Medicine, taking into consideration the highest academic degree attained at the time of appointment and submission of the approved research publication. For the publication requirement, the following are acceptable for entry or initial appointment: original research article, which includes both descriptive and analytic studies, case reports, meta-analysis, and systematic reviews. Please note that although case reports are acceptable for initial appointment as regular faculty, case reports are not acceptable for tenure. The following are not acceptable as publication requirement: book chapters, clinical practice guidelines, conference proceedings, and review articles. Once appointed to a rank, the faculty member is expected not only to teach as well as possible, but also to build up a productive record of research and engage actively in activities that serve the university and the larger community. For assistant professors, the faculty must exhibit better than satisfactory teaching, must engage in research or creative work, and publish or produce creative work of the quality and quantity necessary to satisfy the standards for tenure and promotion, at least as co-author, if not as lead author. For associate professor, aside from maintaining an excellent teaching record, they must also sustain intellectual productivity by continued publication in reputable refereed academic venues. They must develop a culture of research, not only by advising graduate students and mentoring younger faculty, but also bringing them into research projects and helping them to publish. For full professors, there is a higher expectation with regards to research. They must maintain an active publishing career and must strive for research output or publications. They must develop a culture of excellence in teaching, research, and service by being a role model and mentor, and by prodding the uni to continuously strive for higher levels of achievement. The initial appointment in UP is considered as probationary in character and is renewable every year. The period of temporary appointment until the faculty becomes permanent or tenured varies according to the rank of the faculty member. Tenure is the right of faculty members to continuous employment until he or she retires, voluntarily leaves the university, or is dismissed for cause. The requirement for sole or lead authorship of a refereed journal article, local or international, or academic publication by a recognized academic publisher is not a new requirement for tenure. This requirement, beginning from the rank of instructor and assistant professor, is contained in revised Articles 177 and 178 of the UP Code as proposed in the 1153rd BOR meeting in August 2001. This has subsequently been included in various UP manuals on tenure published by the UP system and UP Manila. Since obtaining tenure is the goal of faculty entering UP, this should be considered as an incentive for doing research. Aside from obtaining tenure, another incentive for doing research is for promotion. Promotion is recognition of the faculty member's accomplishments, growth and development as a teacher and scholar, and service to the university and the general public. It offers an opportunity for the faculty to demonstrate and gain recognition for their achievements over a period of time. As with tenure, promotion is based on demonstrable academic grounds. In this regard, research activity of the faculty is given corresponding merits for promotion. This table shows the categories used as the basis for evaluating the faculty for promotion. The weights for each category are differentiated according to the nature of the unit. Please note that the weight for research across the various units ranges from 30 to 40%. Aside from incentives for appointment, tenure, and promotion, an incentive for doing research is the availability of research funds. Limited research funds are available for faculty-initiated research. Funds are sourced from the incremental tuition fee fund which is collected in the previous academic year. 40% of the ITF funds are allocated for research activities, including the following: faculty-initiated research, grants writing, publication fees, travel grants for research dissemination, and capacity-building workshops, including registration in conventions and training courses. In UP Manila, research dissemination and faculty development grants are also given to faculty who are speakers or presenters, including those who are invited to give research presentations. Lastly, let me briefly discuss some of the research awards given in the university. Every year, the Gawad Chancellor Awards are given for various categories. One category is the Gawad Chancellor Award for Outstanding Researcher. This award is open to all UP Manila faculty, research faculty, and research extension and professional staff engaged in research. The nominees are evaluated for their performance in the last 5 years, and the main basis is significance and impact of research work and publication track record, including research awards and recognition. A publication award amounting to 30,000 pesos is given per original paper published in a reputable international or national peer-reviewed journal, divided according to the number of authors. Various professorial chair awards and faculty grants are available specifically for faculty in the UP College of Medicine. Professorial chair awards and faculty grant awards are forms of recognition for achievement in the academe, including research. The awards aim to encourage the faculty to advance knowledge and learning in the various fields and disciplines. These awards are supported by special endowments established by private or government foundations, organizations, or professional societies. The One UP Professorial Chair Awards and Faculty Grant Awards aims to further provide recognition and incentives to faculty members who demonstrate outstanding performance in 2 out of 3 work areas of the faculty: teaching, research or creative work, and public service. The allocation of funds for these awards are approved by the Board of Regents. The awards are to be distributed among the academic units across all the constituent universities. In the UP College of Medicine, a special research award was established in 2021 by UPCM Class 1965 in honor of a member of the class, Dr. Evangeline Olivar Santos. The purpose of the award is to encourage faculty as well as students of the UP College of Medicine to publish their research work in indexed, peer-reviewed international journals that adhere to high standards of scholarship. Aside from the award offered for Best Student Research Paper, a publication assistance amounting to $1,000 is given to UPCM faculty for publication of meritorious research papers in indexed international journals. Further information regarding the other awards available in the university may be requested from the Office of the Vice Chancellor for Research. Thank you very much for listening to this presentation. I wish you all a pleasant day.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. This ends the lecture portion of our webinar. I would now like to call on my co-host, Dr. Jean Peral, to start the open forum. May I invite all the speakers to please open their video and join us in the open forum.
Thank you, Dr. Amayos. And we have several questions in the Q&A box. So the first one here comes from Dr. Portia Marcelo. So essentially our question is, where does community research, university researches in the community come in with regard to the research agenda? Would you like to answer, Ma'am Isa?
Yeah. I think the perspective of our research agenda, no, we'll cover all the items there can include a community-based component, no? Kaya nga, if you come up with a program, when I flash the slide on translational research, no, it can move from the laboratory to the hospital down to the community.
Yeah.
So, yun yung idea in coming up with a research program, that you will eventually also be able to implement it at the community level, no? The interventions that are found to be effective, safe, no? At the clinic, we can also do research in the community. Kaya yung from bench to bedside to community. So yun
Yes,
yung full circle sana. Oo.
Actually, ma'am, in the domains, wellness and preventive care for all, the first domain has the family as one of the subtopics, and it's under the Department of Family and Community Medicine.
Right.
So that is where they can really collaborate.
Oo.
Her second question from Portia is, where does UHC, Universal Healthcare, come in the research agenda? So I might have not have emphasized it, but in the domain 7, the health service delivery, UHC implementation was actually there, although there were no conveners, no volunteer conveners, and there was only one volunteer collaborator, the Department of Psychiatry. So maybe the Department of Family and Community Medicine also, and the others can join in there. Yes, Ma'am Isa.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that it's not cast in stone, no?
Yes,
The
ma'am.
agenda,
Right.
no? And that because like when we had the meeting, not everyone was there, no? So people, the faculty, the departments can still input, no, their priority programs. Like for this, community research is really very important, and I think that's one area that has really not been let's say, there's a lot of material for the community. We've been doing a lot of community work, diba? But they have not really written it up, no? So it's an area for really doing research, no?
Dr. Eva, would you like to add for the community with regard to, let's say, NIH and the other UP Manila units, maybe for Dr. Wang?
Well, for the NIH, it depends on, I mean, most of the institutes really have work that deal with the community, but a good example will probably be from the Institute of Molecular Biology and Biotechnology. It's bench to bedside to communities, and that would be coming up with affordable diagnostics that will be accessible, available, and affordable to Filipinos.
Okay. Thank you, Ma'am Eva. Sir, Dr. Wang, there are other UP Manila colleges, no, and are also doing community researches.
Yes, thank you, Jean. I think that would be a very good venue, or platform for collaboration. And we can link them up together. Remember, yung ating agenda, I think that should probably not just be shown to UPCM, diba, or PGH. Kasi marami ding mga pwedeng mag-collaborate from CAS, from CPH, pharmacy. Sometimes i-present lang natin and right away there's so many people who can input from the other colleges. The other thing that I noticed was, di ba, yung sinasabi ninyo na parang step by step na, and then it leads all the way to bench up to community, ganun. Pwede rin yata, kasi like I know, I can't remember the study now or who's undertaking it, pero parang dermatology has may study already with the community, di ba? Diretso na. Pwede rin diretso, no?
Yes,
I mean, you don't have to go through I mean, so if you want to, I mean, sila Dr. Marcelo can actually be recruiting also directly from the different departments, you know? Yeah. I know that there's a dermatology study going on now with going on, diba? So that might be a good example.
Mm-mm.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, we move on to the next set of questions. This time, it's coming from one of our recent MD PhD graduates, Dr. Orlad Tantenko. He's asking, do we have funding within the college or university to start the different projects under this new research agenda? And she has I saw a second question earlier about,
I answered it.
You answered it. Sorry, kaya nawala. Sorry, ma'am. It's about yung
Publication.
publication. Okay. So who would like to answer that question regarding funding? Is it Mark Sandoval or yes, Ma'am Eva?
I think what Dr. Isa and Dr. Eugene presented is the harmonized agenda is supposed to be truly collaborative. And we do have startup grants from the National Institutes of Health. We give 2 times a year per semester to faculty as much as 500,000 pesos in a grant, and for students about 100,000. So, those are ways to kick off some of these research projects. At the same time, we have already set aside about 2.5 million a year as for commission grants at the NIH. And what is that? This is a grant given where you need to produce data at a fast pace, short periods of time. And we just encourage you to collaborate or to connect with any of our 15 institutes and centers of the NIH. I did mention in my talk about grants coming from the Newborn Screening Reference Center. So if you have something for the community or even for the hospital that's related to newborn screening, there's a lot of money for that because the center allocates funds to improve the program through researches done by investigators. And we have, I think right now the pot runs in millions, 100 million actually, between 80 to 100 million.
So ma'am, kaya yung mga pediatricians nagko-collaborate po sa
Yeah.
inyo. Dr. Wang is raising his hand, sir.
Yeah, I was just going to say that in addition to yung talk ni Chet Gonzalez, we've been able to, with the help of Argao, compile all the different possible incentives, grants, recognitions, awards, and then put them all together in a file. We can send it to you. I think maybe we can actually send it here's chat box, and then we'll also send it to all the different departments. It's actually a work in progress. When we were compiling all of this, and Argao has a pretty comprehensive list already, but we've been discovering many more grants from here and there. So parang padami ng padami, and I think it will be good for all of our faculty to take a look at all that, where they can actually, which ones they can actually make use of. We'll send it here. We'll include also here the NURA and the Harmonized National Research, anong tawag doon? NRDA. We'll include all of that here. Thanks.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am Eva.
Alam nyo, yung binibigay na research grant sa university, it's even from us, it's a drop in the bucket. So we encourage everyone to really come up with good proposals that can go to the level of the Philippine Council for Health Research and Development. I showed you figures over the last 7 years. The grants that we got for UP Manila alone, out of the biggest funding agency, which is the Department of Science and Technology, is like 1.47 billion. I mean, this is big money, no? And if each one will really try to come up with a program, and I'd like to mention this because we really have plans from way back to start research programs within the university. What does that mean? The faculty who have the track record gets grants. Nakita nyo kanina yung pinakita, yung grant ni, yung MORPH, no? MORPH project ni Dr. Leslie. Marami pang ganon. Solidarity Trial of Dr. Jod Lim and Dr. Isa Alejandria. This, we get huge grants from the Department of Science and Technology. Now, people, the faculty, the students can actually join in those research programs and utilize counterpart funding, which are smaller in amount, but they can answer questions that are within the research program. That's how they do it in big universities. I think it's about time that we also probably adapt such models. Yun lang. Thank you, Jean.
You, ma'am. For smaller fundings, PGH also has from the PGH Research Fund, initially for trainees, but we've extended it also to faculty members, no, as well as the nursing and the paramedical group of PGH. So startup, pwede siyang pang startup. Okay, so we move on to the next question. This one is from Dr. Dennis Sakdalan. Can the NIH help in directing the university's research agenda on malignant diseases? So this was the appeal domain, no, to help in the proper implementation of the National Integrated Cancer Control Act and in relevant policy making by setting up something like the Cancer Research Institute, just like the NCI in the US, NIH. Ma'am Isa, Ma'am Eva.
Thank you, Dennis, for your very relevant question. As Dr. Gap and myself, we have a meeting very soon precisely for this, no? So we can provide the NIH can provide the facility for creating the program, but we cannot setting up an institute takes a lot of work. We have to have people. We have to be able to show sustainability of creating such an institute. So maybe we also need to be wise in our moves, no? Kasi meron ng Philippine Cancer Center. How do we actually, as UP Manila, PGH, NIH, and the colleges, how do we actually get into the big picture of the Philippine Cancer Center? So there will be a lot of discussions that will happen, and most certainly we will be consulting our clinicians, the medical as well as the surgical oncologists from different specialties. And then, of course, we have the expertise from the NIH as far as omics-related matters, and then epidemiological matters, with ICE. And of course, there's also the DCE. So it will really take a village for us to make research really work for our university so that we can contribute to national development.
Yes, thank you, Ma'am Eva. No, so pati policy kasali rin, ma'am, yung Institute of Health Policy.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
thank
you. And then, so there's one question from an anonymous attendee. I think this has something to do, maybe Dr. Wang will answer this. After publication of research, I get invitations to discuss the findings in several international conferences that I am not familiar with. So might be predatory conferences. How should we respond to such invitations? Dr. Wang.
Oh, thank you, Jean. You could have actually answered it also, Jean. But this is an issue of research integrity, and I think this is an issue that hounds us all. No? Once you start publishing and once you're more active in the publishing environment, you start getting a lot of these weird invitations. So I think you have to be very conscious, and you're very right to already be suspicious of what you saw. There are some guidelines that we have for identifying which ones might be predatory. There are predatory journals, there are predatory conferences. There are all kinds of predatory. Your suspicion usually is correct. And if it sounds too good to be true, then it's probably something predatory. So hold back muna. Jean, ano nga yung slogan mo, yung 3 words predatory?
Think, check, submit.
Yes.
Think, check, submit.
Remember, once you submit kasi to a predatory journal also, you can't retrieve it. They're never going to let let you get it back. And sayang yung article mo, and no one will read it. It will be there in outer space, cyberspace, and no one will ever read it. And that's really that's going to be a black mark on you. So conferences naman, those conferences where you're invited, suddenly you're given parang royal treatment, but at the end of your invitation, suddenly magbabayad ka ng $500, mga ganun. So just be very careful about it, and you're very correct to be suspicious of it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Also, by the way, sorry, there's a webinar sa ORI, or the Office of Research Integrity, dealing specifically with predatory. I think that came out in the last quarter of 2021. You can still view it. And again, in a webinar that we will be holding on December 6th this year, maybe in 2 weeks' time, the topic of predatory journals will be addressed again, and predatory conferences. Thank you.
So watch out for our announcement. So our next question, Ma'am Isa, why did you say that the impact factor is misleading from an anonymous attendee?
Okay. So because it depends on how they do it. Like some journals, no, they don't believe in impact factor. So like, for example, BMJ case report, they don't put out an impact factor. So it doesn't mean, so when I said if a journal does not have an impact factor, it does not mean that it's not a good journal. No, it's because they don't believe in the policy. Like BMJ case report is an example of a journal that does not put out impact factor. So just need to read the policies of the journal as well.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So there are several questions here with regard getting yes, Dr. Wang, sorry, I didn't see your hand raised.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to say that we included yung sa incentives under the folder rings. So the rings really represents their recognition, incentives, and grants. Kaya we called it rings. It's a work in progress. So if there are any additionals to it, for example, Chet, pag may nakita ka na, you can add to it. Please add to it na lang. Kasi we haven't, I seriously think we haven't been able to cover everything. And there's already a lot there. Thank you.
Okay. So I think the next question should be answered by Dr. Chet Gonzalez. No? So I think this has something to do with requirements for the tenure promotion. For sole authorship requirements, are viewpoint or perspective articles acceptable?
Unfortunately, not. So they're not acceptable.
Okay. So
Commentaries also not acceptable.
Okay. So that answers your question, Ma'am Belen, no, Dofitas. And then the next one is, can we get grant for our doctorate thesis? Is there a protocol? Who should answer that? Ma'am Eva. Yes, Ma'am Eva.
Yes, you can actually use, if you're a faculty, you can very well use the 500,000 grant from the NIH. If you're a student, about 100,000, but you know, that's a drop in the bucket. I don't know, Chet, Dr. Ewang, if you included PCHRD as a source of grants for our masteral and PhD students. There is actually they have a program for that. So they can access grants from PCHRD for thesis. So we should tap into that as well.
Actually, can I add? Actually, I limited my topic to grants and incentives available in the UP College of Medicine. But as Dr. Ewang said, there are a lot. In fact, there is an NAST also grant. Marami actually, but I didn't include because I just included UPCM. And in connection with that, in UPCM, we also have grants for postgraduate thesis, specifically those who are working on their PhD. So meron tayong Push 1 Class 1967 postgraduate grant. So in fact, earlier, Dr. Belen this morning presented her thesis for approval of the grant, and she was granted the grant. So this is a grant up to $4,000 US. And I think it will be helpful for those who are pursuing a PhD. So that's another grant that is available. But this is for postgraduate studies. It's not actually for publication or research specifically. So it's for you to be able to complete your PhD, which you all know, of course, includes a thesis and maybe the publication also.
So that's one way of how alumni groups can also give back to the college na through these grants. No? So like Class 67. So the next question is, paano daw mapapadali ang mga bagay-bagay? I think this webinar is a first step to that, no? Dr. Wang, would you like to answer that question? Paano daw mapapadali? Ang hirap naman ng tanong.
Sorry, I didn't see the question. Can you read it out?
Ang hirap-hirap pa rin mag-research sa UP Manila. Paano natin mapapadali ang mga bagay-bagay?
Yes, so we understand that, and I think somebody mentioned nga kanina na parang dati very convoluted, but I think the dust is settling and parang we're seeing the road map much clear now. Of course, marami pang hitches, and we're all trying to put our minds together to try to improve that. And like sabi nga ni Jean, this is a first step. I think the awareness nga na there is a support system is our first step. Now, any suggestions from the group will be from all of our faculty and students will always be very welcome, so that we can also see kung saan tayo pwede pa mag-improve, di ba? Now, again, like I like the word that this is really it takes a village kasi to become a good research university. It's not a single person's role or responsibility. I think all of us should help in our own ways. And so kung may mga suggestions, let us know if there are ways you can improve. For example, sometimes yung mga complaints na nakita namin na mabagal, pero actually it's the submissions. And I myself am to blame for that sometimes. Parang mabagal pero hindi ko sinasubmit right away when there's a call for a resubmission, di ba? So I think there are little ways all of us can help, but I think this is a big UP Manila endeavor and we should all work together towards it. Thank you.
Dr. Eva? Yes, ma'am.
You know, during the early part of my term as Vice Chancellor for Research, I did a survey. I surveyed yung ating mga parang prolific researchers. Tinanong ko sila, why is it difficult to do research in the university? Ang sagot nila sa akin, yung isa ay, dati kasi if they put their grant like nasa foundation, they can easily walk to Robinsons and get a laptop. Pero within the university setting daw, parang binilang niya 30 steps to get a laptop sa dami ng signatures, PR, PO, initial, 3 initial para malagyan ng signature. So lahat yon kinount niya. Tapos so sabi ko, this is a good time to ask kasi lahat naman takot sa audit, di ba? So pinapunta ko siya sa audit. Pumunta naman siya. Tapos only to find out, sabi sa kanya, sir, you're wrong. Hindi 30 steps to get a laptop. 32 steps. So, marami pa. But anyway, and that, syempre yung mga nickel and dime, yung different, ang mga sagot pa yung, kasi different ang interpretation ng procurement law. Yun yung medyo mahirap kasi ito, isang office, ganito interpretation sa procurement law. So when you're trying to get equipment, nickel and dime accounting, no, parang wala kang masyadong room, mga disallowances, nakaka-terrorize talaga sa mga experience for researchers. But from 2015 to now, and I think Dr. Mark Sandoval gave an excellent presentation on how we tried to reorganize the Research Grants Administration Office. That's how big universities do it. And that's why when like for example, if you go to the UC Berkeley, it's a new career path for many people. It's called research administrators, no? And mga 30 or more people ang nasa grants office nila. Sa atin medyo maliit pa, but we hope that we can get more people to help our researchers. So hindi na yung dati, kanina sabi ni Mark, hindi na kayo ang maglalakad ng inyong mga MOA. Wala nang ganon. papasok niya lang lahat yan sa Argao. And that's why the orientation, the confirmation that you do understand the orientation that was given to you, they're all very important as initial steps prior to the implementation of your grant. Now, I'm not saying that we have perfected the system. I think we're still learning the ropes, no? So nandun pa rin tayo sa growing pains. Pero siguro talagang it will take another few more years for us to really be really skilled or cognizant of every single step so that we don't miss out on the steps and therefore our processes can be more efficient.
Yeah.
This is really a work in progress, no? Taking the whole village. No. So let me go back. Sir, Dr. Wang, you raised your
Yeah,
hand.
I was going to follow up also on what Eva said. There are some things kasi within our control, and then there really are some things na medyo mahirap to overcome immediately. So kunyari yung Philippine procurement law, that's such a big obstacle sometimes for us, di ba? But the things that we're able to do, yan yung ina-iron out, and the job that sila Dr. Eva have been doing when she was VCR, and then the work that all of the different units have been doing, the streamlining ni Mark, that has really helped. No? So the little things, I think we're trying to work on all that. But rest assured also that the administration is also going to try and address these different problems like the Philippine procurement law, because that will probably need to go up to higher levels now. But if we have a strong support system and we have all of these champions for research, I think we can go up to that higher level and maybe start chipping away on the big monoliths of those laws. So again, it's a whole village that will help chip away on those things. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. So we have one question here regarding maybe an additional support, no, for researches from Dr. Belen Tufitas. Can our university library please apply for these memberships to these open access journals with leading journal publishers? Because of the big amount that they need to pay to publish. Maybe that's one thing that Dr. Wang's office can also study, no, sir?
Yeah. And in fact, yung research framework, Jojo Mantaring actually made a very nice write-up about the research parang the research environment. And today we really concentrated on the support system, but the research environment is beyond that. So even the library. So next time we'll include all that, and definitely your suggestion is very welcome. Thank you.
Another question here, maybe Ma'am Isa and I can answer this. How can we join the research agenda as potential collaborators? Are there any point person for this? Of course, if you come from one of the departments, through the departments or the units, no. But if you are, let's say, coming from another college in UP Manila, then you can either go through Rido or to Aero and tell us, no, which ones you want to collaborate. Actually, while the session was ongoing, I got a message from one of the CAS faculty. So, yun, about these collaborations. Ma'am Isa?
Yeah, we can post it also in the UPCM web portal, no? So that kasi two-prong naman yung purpose ng agenda is to get collaborators also from outside, no? And the other one is for funding, no? So that if funding agencies kasi see what you do, then they might, or other researchers, they will contact you, no? If they see that this is what our college or university is doing, and then if they're looking for partners, then they can contact. Kaya maganda if we put it in the portal with our contact numbers, email address, no, also.
Yes, ma'am. So wait for these announcements that we will make subsequently. So, Ma'am Eva, there's a question, no? Can faculty members with temporary status apply for the NIH grant?
Yeah, I would think so. Temporary status at the College of Medicine. Meron bang temporary status sa College of Medicine? Dr.
Yung wala
Che?
pang tenure.
Yung yearly renewal, di ba?
Oo.
Yeah.
Is
I
it
would-
also open to clinical? Kasi dalawa, di ba? Clinical and regular. Yung regular, yung meron pa siyang, hindi pa siya tenured, hindi temporary lang yon. So until they get their tenureship, they're considered as not permanent.
Yeah, I don't want to discriminate them. Everyone should have the opportunity to be given a grant if their protocol is meritorious. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ma'am Eva. So, this is for Dr. Chet, no, Gonzalez from Raytan. Case reports are now acceptable for entry as assistant professor?
Ang difference ng assistant sa associate professor, yung authorship, kung lead or sole author ka, then you're eligible for associate professor. Or if you're only a co-author, then ano lang yun, assistant professor. That's for entry. But you are correct, yes, case reports are acceptable as entry, but not for tenure.
Okay. Maybe we're we're about to end now, so we might not be able to answer the rest of the questions. But one last question on what can be from an anonymous attendee, what can be done to properly acknowledge the big responsibilities of project leaders via project staff? Honoraria for project leader is a mere drop in the bucket via the responsibilities. Maybe Dr. Wang and Dr. Eva can help answer this.
The honorarium.
Yep.
The honorarium has been an ever challenging issue because just so the people in the audience have an idea, it's about 11,000 if you're a program leader. If you're a project leader, it's about 8,800. And this is dictated by DOST-GIA, Grants in Aid program. We have tried our best to negotiate this. There was even a law about kasi dati may cap din. I don't know if you're aware of it, the 25% cap if you hold a full-time position, no, for other projects, for other grants. Kaya lang, kasi ganito nyo yan dapat tingnan no? So hanggang ngayon, hindi pa yan nare-resolve. There's an appeal to increase it. But if you look at what do you do? Kasi yung 8,800 na or 11,000 as a program leader, ano yan that is in the context that you have a full-time position and that you actually as a project leader only gives a certain amount of time to your project. Hindi mo naman pwede i-full-time yung work mo. And that's why you get full-time RAs. So those are part of your project staff. And then you as a faculty get an honorarium. But then again, this is an issue that's being discussed. I would like to tell you what CHED did, no? When the Commission on Higher Education gave the Philippine California Advanced Research Institute grant. So hindi rin pwedeng ma-change yung 8,800, etc. Ang ginawa nila, nagbigay sila ng, ano tawag doon? Parang if you hold a PCARI grant, parang mabibigyan ka ng 1 million for your project. That's the incentive. But there's a name for it. And you apply for it. It's a grant, no? Kung naalala ko ano yung pangalan. But parang to compensate for that 8,800 honorarium lang. So siguro kailangan lang maging creative ang mga funding agencies to give appropriate. Hindi siya kasi compensation Ano lang siya really honorarium lang siya talaga. Because nga you already hold a position.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ma'am Eva, for clarifying that. Yes, Dr. Wang.
Jean, and I just wanted to see Mark, I think had something to add. I don't know if he's still here with us.
Yeah, he was answering some things on the chat box. Mark, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Well, sinabi ko lang yung yung sinabi nga ni Dr. Eva, na what Ma'am Eva was mentioning was that the honoraria received must not be more than 25% of the annual salary from the government.
Okay. So last question na lang, Dr. Wang, sagutin mo na lang to. Is the research integrity course required among masteral and PhD students in UP as in other universities?
Well, it's not a requirement. I don't think that's been made a requirement, and but it would be interesting kasi for you to attend it. Every time we come up with a webinar, there's something new for us to learn ourselves. So I think it helps in your in the research process. So it would be good to attend, but I don't think it's been made a requirement.
Okay, thank you, sir.
you.
But
Jean, sorry, can I just
Yes,
ask
po.
a question? I wanted to ask kasi sila Ma'am Rohani, kung if she's
yes
still
po.
here sa IACUC. There's some questions kasi that have been asked at my office, yung sa registration for clearance. Kung can they go daw diretso sa IACUC or does everything have to go through UPM Reb?
Dr. Rohani?
Hani, are you still here?
Rohani? Nawala na yata si ma'am.
Through
Ayun,
Argao
yes.
Ayan, yan.
or directly to UP Manila IACUC if they have questions. So usually kasi we ask for the Argao registration to make sure that the research is registered through IACUC if it needs IACUC review or IBBC review.
So sino yung pagdi-determine nun? Kung
Argao po.
kailangan.
Argao. So we give Argao po the list of coverage ng both IACUC and IBBC.
Okay.
Review.
Okay.
Okay. There are still, I think, some questions which remained unanswered, but I hope all of us are accessible. No, you can reach us for some more specific answers. So I feel the mounting interest in research with the so many questions that were raised, but it's time to end the Q&A. So now, thank you very much to all our panelists. So now let me call on Dr. Jerry Hermar, the Faculty Committee Chair of the UP College of Medicine, for the closing remarks.
This is a fruitful morning. Thank you to all the participants and speakers. I hope that everyone has been motivated to start your researches soon. Thank you and have a great day ahead. Good morning, everyone, to our webinar, Research Made.
Picture taking.
Yes, thank you everyone.
Thank you po, picture taking.
Diego.
Picture taking, sige.
Yes po, I'll facilitate po the picture taking po.
Si Mark, tsaka si Rohani nandyan.
Saka si Ma'am
Dr.
Paz.
Balotro.
Si Sir Jerry, saka si
Can we get everyone?
Mayos.
Oo.
Sila,
Si
andyan pa.
Dr. Balotro, Director Balotro.
Oo.
Si Dean.
Daya, disabled ang aking video.
Disable din.
Wala.
Disable po.
Hold on lang po.
Pa-enable naman, Diego.
Si Mark. Tsaka si Dr. Hermar nandyan. Tsaka si
Mayos.
yes. Dr. Mayos.
Naka-disable pa po.
Ito po.
Kaya pala hindi sila
Yan.
nakasama dito
Wala,
sa
kaya pala. Oo.
Dapat sasali sila, di ba?
Oo, binlockbox mo namang malaki.
Kasi si Rohani. Rohani.
Hello.
You can call her Honey as well. Ayun, si Mark. Andun pa si Mark.
Si Mark, andyan pa. Pasok pa.
Saka yung secretariat, sila Kim.
Michelle at saka si Diego at si Kim.
Diego, yan.
Yes po.
Balotro. Ayun, si Dr. Hermar nandun din.
Jerry, isara mo nga yung ilaw sa likod. Masyado nang makintab.
Sira ulo.
Ayan,
Yan.
Okay na.
Sino ang kukuha ng picture?
Tapos,
Ano po?
Diego. Asa na sila Diego na plano?
Tumabi ka pa kay Mark.
Pa,
Jerry, tumabi ka pa kay Mark.
Dr. Mayos,
Ayun po. Mga
Luis
minds lang
Mayos, wala.
yun.
Oh, yes po.
Meron.
1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay po.
thank you.
Congrats everyone. Congrats and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks,
Ay, ba't
Jerry.
sila? Ay. Bye-bye po.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Ay,
Oy, Jerry,
salamat.
okay naman. Natakot ka, pero okay naman. Okay.
Oo nga.
Bye-bye po.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Ma'am
Thank
Isa,
you.
marami pa tayong may meeting.
Ay,
Oo,
sorry. Since you're still here, yung kanina na mention nyo, mukhang pwedeng okay ba sa inyo na i-open up for parang other colleges to see kung pwedeng mag-collaborate with